You know why I'm even laughing at myself? Because I know I'm not going to be able to edit this thing. But let me see what I actually look like. Hold on, guys. Why my computer gotta make noise? Why you gotta let me know that you noisy? Nobody here yet. That's okay too. I'm trying to see if I can see myself. Allow me to enjoy myself. Oh, there's nobody. I need to be announcing these things before I come on here. I need to do better, guys. Hi guys, what's up guys? Welcome. My name is Abimbola Craig and this is my channel. I have a new exciting feature that just came on YouTube. It's called Super Chat. So what it is, guys, is if you're enjoying this conversation, you can click on the Super Chat and you can feel free to donate any amount you want to. Feel free, guys. Any amount, $2, $1, $3, 50 cents. I think it's an amazing feature, and this is my first time trying it out. So yeah, I don't know if I mentioned, I think I did last time when I was on live. I told you guys that I was doing like a 4-day training session with creators, YouTube Creator 360. And so these are one of the features that we learned about. So I'm trying it out. So yes, guys, super chats. If you're enjoying this conversation and you feel the need to want to bless a child of God, please feel free to. I literally just recorded my Journey to 35 video and I can't wait to edit that. And when I edit it, you guys are going to see it. But right now, guys, the topic of conversation today is modern single ladies. I was in a room on Clubhouse. Y'all gonna say, Bimbo, you started again now. You're on your Clubhouse. I'm being triggered. I don't go on Clubhouse as much as I used to. Oh, Christina. Shout out to you, Christina Mayan. OG. Oh, I see you, girl. Oh, bless you, man. Oh, God, I don't know how to behave. This is so weird. When they told us about this feature, I was like, God, it's weird. How do you come here to... Shout out to you, Christina. I see you. Thanks, boo. All right, guys. So I was on Clubhouse as usual, and I haven't been on Clubhouse in a while, but I was on Clubhouse, and the topic of conversation, I need to find out what it was. I can't, well, let me paraphrase. The topic of, it's going to be very interactive, guys, so please start commenting because I'm looking at the comments and I'm responding. The topic of conversation was why are a lot of modern day ladies single? And I was curious because I'm that person that I'm a very reflective person. You know what I mean? I'm single, I'm 34. I've had different conversations with people, a lot of people thinking they know. There's a lot of assumptions running around as to why, there are certain women of a certain age who are single. Part of it is modernization. So I entered this room thinking, let me just hear, you just never know. And there were quite a bunch of people. We have to say, oh, thank you, Christina. I truly appreciate it. So we're in this room, Sha. And the first thing that first of all was just very jarring for me was the fact that there were like how many men that were moderating. And I'm like, thank you, David. I'm like, why is the topic of conversation? Why are a lot of modern women single? Question mark. And as opposed to it being women moderating and paneling and channeling this conversation, it was a man. It rubbed me off the wrong way. Not because I'm trying to be a hyper feminist, but just because I would like to see women champion this conversation because it is about us. And as much as it's easy for us to have opinions about the opposite sex, if you're not living in my shoes, you can't really say where it's pinching me. Hey, if you're not a woman, you can't really talk about the struggles women are going through as a man. It's just hard. You can share your opinions, but let it be generalized that it is your opinion, not like you're living in this, reality. And so the conversation starts. Guys, please, this is very interactive. So if you're a modern lady who is single, please tell me, why are you single? So before I start this, let me tell you maybe why I'm single. Then I will now share with you guys what they were saying in the room. By the way, guys, I've not eaten today. Oh my Jesus. If you're just coming, welcome to my random YouTube live. I'd spoken about how there's a new feature that I just learned about, which is called Super Chats. And so it enables you spend money on me. So please feel free, guys, to use the Super Chat and you can just bless me. $1, $2, $3, whatever it is. If you're enjoying this conversation and you feel the need to want to add to the pocket of a child of God, please feel free to use the super chat. So why am I single, right? And I was going to do this with a proper video, but I said, you know what? I think it'll be more healthy when it's interactive. So please, guys, call your friends to call your friends to call your friends. Let's talk. I'm 34, like I said before. What do? I'm a filmmaker. I direct, produce, create films and content. I have also featured in a few of them in terms of acting. I'm also a lawyer, 11 years practicing accounting, and I'm a YouTuber. Now, I feel the need to express all of this because, you see, part of these things that I do is why some men apparently are intimidated, and I don't understand why. But let me start with why I'm single before I talk about the content of what that room was about. Hi, mommy. Shout out to you from Houston. So I am single, and I recently came to this conclusion and realization. For the longest time, every time people ask me, but why are you single? It always felt like a very, oh, fine Ninja. Thank you so much, fine Ninja. $5? You blessing me. Thank you so much. I super appreciate it. So for the longest time, I'll get very defensive because I found it very weird. It's like asking me, why do I drink water? Because I'm thirsty. So you asking me why am I single? I'm thinking to myself, because I'm single. I mean, if I could date myself, yeah. Hi, Brenda. If I could date myself, I would date myself. And so I used to be very offended and very defensive by that question. And it took 2020 for me to be able to sit down and reflect and realize why I was single. Why am I single? I am single because I never was intentional about being in a relationship. Hi, Annie. And I didn't realize that until 2020. So I've had people take me on dates. I've had, here and there conversations with people. I have dated. And for me, dating is in the Christian way. Please, thanks so much. Not judging all of you. I'm just saying when it comes to dating for me is what it is getting to know somebody. And I would get to know someone, and most times I find it hard to just be attracted to people. And I'm being very honest with you. It takes very little, but it takes a lot. I'm not carried away. Oh God. Anna, wow, you guys are so sweet. Thank you so much, dear. Thank you so much. I super appreciate it. So for the longest time, as I was saying, I just never was intentional about it. People will have conversations with me. Hi, Favor. People will have conversations with me. People will ask me. I'll go on dates and all of that. But I just wasn't, nobody tickled my fancy. And I kept on using work as an excuse. So I never paid attention to it. Now, a lot of people will say sometimes you have to pray about it. But even when I was praying, it was always in passing. God, please, oh, I'm asking that you just, make me and let the bone of my bone and the flesh of my flesh connect to me and we'll find ourselves. But I was never intentional. I never took time out to go on dating apps. I never took time out to tell friends, because as you're getting older, you realize that it's not the conventional way you meet people anymore. So I never took time out to tell friends that, listen, I'm single, by the way. And a lot of people just assumed I was always in a relationship, and I could never understand it. And so 2020 happened, and everybody and the world is forced to pause. And you pause, and then for me, that was a very reflective time, right? Hi, Christabel. Hi, guys. Thank you guys for joining this live. We're talking about modern day single ladies, and it's stemming from a conversation that I'd heard on Clubhouse. And so I'm asking modern ladies who are single why they're single. And I'm choosing to tell my story as to why I'm single before I talk about what had happened in that room and what had led to this. Also, guys, I'm using a new super feature called Super Chat on YouTube. And what it does is, if you're enjoying this conversation and you feel the need to bless your child and you feel the need to donate, please feel free. It's like a new way of revenue streaming and income as well for YouTubers. So if you're enjoying this conversation and you want to, make a donation, $2, $3, whatever it is, it's called Super Chats, and you can just, bless me. So let's keep it pushing. And so the world was forced to stop, and I had to pause, and there was no work. And for the last 7 years, I've been very intentional about work because I came into this industry that I'd never been in before. And I'm the kind of person where I always want to prove to people that I can do it. And even when I know I'm doing it and they see it, I just feel like it's never enough. I always want to outdo myself. I want to be better than I was yesterday. And so I was that tunnel vision, but I also assumed I was making and creating time out for everything else in my life, especially dating. And so when I'm forced to pause now and my phone is not ringing and nobody's calling me, I'm like, and then I'm looking, you know how they say sometimes you just look through and you call your ex because you're bored. There were no exes to call. And I'm like, Bimbo, wow. Why your ass ain't got nobody to call? I thought you said you were trying and you were being intentional about dating. And then it hit me that I actually wasn't. And so I realized, apart it wasn't as serious or it didn't mean a lot to me as I thought it did. And so I had to stop and I had to think. Now, guys, I'm not trying to say there's anything wrong with being single. I believe when you're in your singlehood, it's the time for reflection. It's the time for personal growth. It's the time to work on your emotional intelligence, self-awareness. It's the time to build your immune system mentally, physically, and financially. So use it for that. Now, I've been doing this. But I'm also at a point whereby I now realize that I actually wanted a relationship. It wasn't okay anymore just calling my sister and bearing it all. It wasn't okay anymore just calling my mom and telling my friend. Well, that's a lie. I don't tell my friends anything. But the point is, I'm not an expressive person, but I wanted to be able to talk to someone that was in my corner. And so it made me realize that, Bimbo, you need to do something about it. And so I got my behind off and I went on dating apps. Now, a lot of people would think it was crazy, and a lot of people said it was crazy. I've come here and I've spoken about it a few times, or maybe on IG Live. And that exercise for me wasn't necessarily because I thought I was going to meet someone, but I like to challenge myself. I'm the kind of person that I'm like, okay, if people now ask me again this same question that I dread and I'm always very defensive about, why are you single? I'll be able to say, I don't know. How about the fact that I've grown? How about the fact that I have a job? How about the fact that I'm making money? How about the fact that I've worked on my emotional intelligence? I give you all this bam, 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 bam. I've been on dating apps, so you can't say I haven't tried. I've done all of this. So right now, it really is not about me. Maybe God don't want me to be with someone. Maybe I just haven't met the person yet. And so that was one of those reasons. So I went on a dating app. I spoke to people. I met amazing people. We had conversations. I just still didn't find that connection. But I was happy with the fact that for once I felt like I was walking towards being intentional about wanting to get out of the singlehood, because I do want to get married. Now, if you don't, that's fine. But I do. And as much as I know that I'm Christian and I know what my faith is and I know what the Bible says, I also know that he ain't gonna knock on your door. He not gonna come and say, hey, Bimbo, Jesus sent me. Open the door. It's not gonna happen. You have to put yourself out there. And I realized I wasn't intentional about it, and so I have started. I also started telling friends. I'll have conversations with people, and especially when I'm in Clubhouse, we'll be having conversations and someone like, oh my God, you sound so sound. Oh my God, girl. I mean, I'm sure you're taken. I'm like, no, I'm not. So the world started to know. I started coming on here to every once in a while, I'm single. Oh. Now, me saying that is not because I'm desperate. So I know there are a lot of women that feel very shy about wanting to, express how they feel, because you're like, you don't want to come off as desperate. You don't want people. Listen, it's called putting yourself out there. The universe will give to you what you put out. Hopefully it's something good, but you just need to be intentional about it. And so me telling people that I was single and available wasn't that I'm single, available, and I want to marry tomorrow. It's like I'm single, I'm available, and I'm open to meeting somebody with a good head, period. So why am I single was because before I wasn't being intentional about it. Now I'm making strides. It's still hard because work for me is also very important, but I'm being intentional about balancing it. Now you lost, tell me why you're single. Now back to Clubhouse and the madness that happened in this room. So we had a bunch of women that were on the stage, but it was being moderated by men. And I couldn't understand why. Like I said, guys, it's not because I'm a hyper feminist, but if you're asking why are a lot of modern day women single, I'm expecting that the bunch of people that will be contributing to this conversation will be modern day women. And so you're having men navigating the conversation, and I'm like, okay, cool. Then you have a gentleman who comes on here. I'm in a relationship now, but I was single for a long time because I couldn't find anyone who I connected with, who had the qualities I needed. I knew I needed, and I wasn't going to settle. It's important not to settle. I feel like it's so easy. Sorry, guys, I know I keep digressing, but I want this to be as interactive as possible. I feel like it's so easy for us as women to be carried away, and that's because we have so much pressure, especially when you get to a particular age where you're single, and automatically, especially in Nigeria, anybody hears I'm single right now, it must be because you're too picky. And I've decided that I'm coming against you. Anybody that asks me or tell me I'm single because I'm too picky, I rebuke them. The next question I ask them is very rhetorical. What is wrong with being picky? We've gotten to that point where we make this term picky such a negative connotation, and it's irritating. When you see peanut butter and you see jam and they ask you which one you prefer, don't you pick the one that you prefer? What is wrong with that? So please, I want us as women and men, if you're single as well, and it's because you just haven't found someone that you've connected with, there is nothing wrong with that. Don't let anybody let you settle because they're coming up with this, you are being too picky. You are allowed to pick. And women also understand that as much as a man chooses you, you also choose that man right back. So you don't settle. So you don't say, had I known. There is nothing wrong with wanting what you want. Where the issue is if you're being unrealistic. I'm so sorry. I was like, what is happening? Somebody tried to call me and I rejected the call. I'm so sorry, guys. I was like, what is happening to my life? This was such a good live. Why was this live freezing? Sorry, guys, I'm being dramatic. So, oh God, I've lost my train of thoughts because I'm so upset. For like 5 minutes, I kept on wondering, what's happening, guys? What's happening, guys? What's happening, guys? But we are back on. Are you guys still here? Can I get an amen if we're still here? Okay, cool. So there's nothing wrong with being picky. I think the issue is when you're picky and you're being picky is unrealistic, right? And so it's important that you understand that. It's very important that you understand that. So now back to us talking about this clubhouse conversation. So this man comes on stage and he starts to talk about the fact that, you know, a lot of women right now are, someone once told me I was picky, that's why I'm still single. My dear, pick. There's nothing wrong with it. I've said it before. There are lots of, God, and sometimes I feel like I'm talking too much because when people hear me talking about things like they're like, that's why you're single. If you know all this, then girl, why are you still single? Listen, there's nothing wrong with having an opinion about things. And the fact that you have an opinion about something doesn't necessarily mean things are going to go your way. It's the same way that I keep telling people that, you know, if you're choosing to be celibate, if you're a virgin, man or woman, it's a beautiful thing and enjoy it. But don't for any second assume that because you have chosen to abstain from sex, God is going to bless you with a great partner. It doesn't work like that because that's just not life and that's unrealistic. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say. So, you know, you can have an opinion about something and it can be a great opinion. Doesn't mean that you still won't be single. I don't know if I'm making sense. So the fact that I can talk about things like this and I'm still single, I'm not God. That's the point I'm trying to make, you know? So there's nothing wrong with being picky. Just be very realistic with why you're being picky. Let me try and read what people are saying. I'm single because I haven't met someone yet. The guys I met are not just on my frequency and I'm still working on myself. It's very important to work on yourself. It's very important to build yourself. I've always been told that I'm too picky, but the thing is I know what I want and that's it. And people that make you feel as if you have a problem because you're single. Girl, I'm about to talk about that because I put it on Twitter yesterday. I said people that make single people seem like they have an issue. You have a problem. You need to stop single shaming people. By the way, guys, I was talking about how there's a new super feature. It's called Super Chat. So while we're having these conversations, if you are blessed by the conversation, if you feel like this conversation is growing great, you know, feel free to tip your girl. So use the Super Chat emojis and bless me while I bless you. All right, let's go back to it. So anyways, we're in this room and people start to have conversations and there are lots of ladies coming on stage to say a few things that I'm very disappointed with, but it's okay, it's their opinion. And I've learned to, you know, agree to disagree with a lot of people. So there are women that are coming on there saying that, you know, I'm single right now because I feel like I'm being too strong when it comes to men and I need to learn to tone down my masculine side just so that, you know, I can be more submissive. And I'm thinking to myself, the hell are you saying? You know, what's going on with us? What do you mean you're tone down your masculine side? And then a man comes up stage to agree with this line and train of thoughts, you know, and his response is, yeah, at the end of the day, a man who is masculine wants a woman who is feminine. And I'm thinking, sorry guys, I might curse, please excuse me. The fuck is this nigga saying? Sorry guys, I said sorry. Because that's what came to my head. What do you mean a man who is masculine wants a woman who is feminine? And what does a woman who is feminine mean by trying to tone down her masculine side? Now, I've had conversations and I've been in rooms where a lot of women go around talking about how you can rest in your feminism. I'm not disagreeing with all of that. But I feel like there are a lot of man-made statements that we need to reject and we need to unlearn. A lot of people are going around pandering a bunch of shit that logically might sound sensible, But realistically, if you sit down and spend time and you break it down, it don't really hold water. You understand what I mean? Because at the end of the day, a strong woman doesn't mean she's masculine. It just means she's a strong woman. It doesn't take away from her feminism. Because at the end of the day, if she's around a man who she loves, who she respects, and who she values, all that man gotta do is touch her. Just one shoulder. It can be that he will just pull her chin to his side. That's the end of it. So we would be, and as a woman, you would always retain your feminism. The only person that gets to see that side of you is the person who is deserving of it. So when I hear all this turn on your masculinism and turn off your masculinity story, at the end of this day, I don't have testosterone. So everybody should calm down, you know? And then you're on the same stage and you have men that are coming on there and saying that, you know, when a woman is too independent, I have a problem with it. But I'm thinking to myself, Ra, I was in a room with you 3 days ago and you were complaining about the fact that your girlfriend expects you to do everything. And so it's that situation where it's important that you make sure you are with someone who understands you, who values you, and who wants to build the kind of relationship that both of you want with yourselves. You see, it's beautiful to be able to look back at your parents' relationship, especially if it was great. My parents they had a great love story. You know, my dad has been dead 11 years this December, and my mother still talks about him like he's next door to her. They have a great love story. My mother was a year older than my dad, and not once, if you ever saw them interact, would you have known. My mother worked jobs. My mother was a lawyer. She was a gold seller. She was a PTA member. She was a family lawyer. My mother did so many things. And my father worked in a corporate job till he passed. And there was respect. There was love. But before that love, there was huge respect and regard. And so those are the things I want to pick and I want to carry into my marriage. But I've understood the fact that you can't carry people's entire marriage and try to reflect it on yours. This spirit of comparison. You build the relationship that you want. You build the marriage that you want. So in 2021, I want to challenge a lot of us who are single and even those that are married. If you're married to someone that both of you are on the same level and you want the same thing, make sure you start to build the kind of marriage you want, the kind of relationship you want. You have to create it. It doesn't exist. Because who your parents were and who you are, two different people entirely. So what could have worked for them most likely would not work for you. And so you need to get that. Anyways, back to what I'm talking about in this clubhouse. You're having women complaining about the fact that, you know, they need to tone down their bossiness. They need to tone it down. The partner that they were with before, you know, he was complaining a lot about the fact that she was too masculine for him. And I'm like, okay, great. And so she's like, you know, she has to learn to step that back and to just chill on that. Then you have an uncle that comes too and talks about the fact that I said this before. As a man, you know, as a masculine man, I want my woman to be feminine. And I'm thinking to myself, all these women that are always very masculine. When you are in the house, you drop being a boss. And I'm thinking to myself, what the hell are you talking about? But okay, uncle, let's see, maybe you get there and you make sense. And then a lady comes on and her name is Jerry. And she talks about how she doesn't understand where people are coming from. She's a young lady. She's a lawyer. She's a boss. She's with her partner right now. And her partner, she didn't even say he or she. My partner respects me and knows who I am, and we're building something towards where we want to be. I don't think I need to be one or the other. I believe I can be a boss lady and I can still be a very, very beautiful lover and partner. And this man comes and says, you see, that's the problem I have with you women. You need to understand that you need to pick. You cannot have a career and then have a home. One is going to suffer. You can't eat your cake and have it. And I'm like, guys, are you listening to what I'm saying that this uncle was saying? I'm single because I was not intentional. Same thing I said too. When I dated, there was no true connection with the guy. Also, not having sex chased them away. See, we need to talk about this not having sex when you're in a relationship thing. I'm coming back. Let me just continue. It's not about control by to them. And they will talk as if they are the problem or the issue in your lifestyle. Respect and shout out to your mama and your... Oh, bless you. Thank you so much. We don't get testosterone. My sister, oh. Hi, Abosede. Hi, Bimbo. Please, I'd like your opinion on Kevin Sam. Listen, that's a whole nother conversation. Here, a joke. Being an alpha female is not the problem. The problem is, you see, gift, even this word alpha female, I feel like I've said before, when it comes down to all these narratives, it makes sense when, you know, it's explained. But it's terms like this that keep worsening our situation. Sometimes I feel like we should just call things what they are. Very simple. It's the same way that when it's a secretary, Nigeria will say secretary. Americans will call it the assistant something something to the something 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 something. The person is a secretary. Call a spade a spade. All this alpha female, alpha male, all this, looking for a man, a high valued man. Bullshit, man. They are talking in the rubbish and in the nonsense. And when we start to allow words like this be projected on us, and we start to find places where we can fit it and slot it into our lives, and we start to put ourselves into these boxes, we don't realize when we start to limit ourselves. You now start to think that, yes, I'm an alpha female because I'm strong, because I'm opinionated, and because I know what I want and I go for it. I most likely will not be able to find a man who's just an alpha male as well, because, at the end of the day, both our personalities, we clash, right? So yeah, I might need to get a man who is not necessarily as strong as me, but just calm. And then you start to just look for things that God does not even want you to attract to yourself. I don't know if you're getting what I'm trying to say. There's male and there's female. There are personalities that are stronger than others, but sometimes both personalities can coexist regardless of. So please, let's start to, own these things and start to reject, because it's spiritual. Start to reject a lot of things. So this uncle comes on anyways, and he's talking about how, women cannot be both. You can't be both. And the girl is saying, I'm a bit confused. Are you a woman? I'm telling you that I can be a boss lady at the office and still be able to run a home. And he says, that's the problem I have with a lot of these modern women. That's why a lot of you are single. You can't eat your cake and have it. And I'm thinking to myself, you must be high. Because if you as a man think you can eat your cake and have it, why can't I? And so I'm not here to have a conversation and make it a sexist war, but I am here to say that we need to do better. We need to understand that a lot of things that might be possible in Bimbo's life might not be possible in yours. And that even if it's going to be possible, you might need to tweak things to be able to make sure it works in your favor and with who you're with. Balance is very important. Our mothers did it, our grandmothers did it. And I find it very irritating when I go into conversations and I'm hearing people belittle their mothers and make it seem like as if their mothers are dumb. I'm thinking to myself, yet your mother is the chairman on the board of Guarantee Trust Bank. Yet you are talking about her like as if she's a $2 woman. You must be high. There are choices that you make, and there are choices that you make that you live with. But it's very unfair for you to think that, the choices that people made, because you don't understand it, it doesn't make sense, and so it's worthless. Just simply because it doesn't work for you. Do you understand what I mean? So I'm here to tell you that if you're a single woman or you're a married woman and you're doing great at work, you can also do great in your home. You just need to create and find the balance that you want. Then a pastor comes on and he starts to talk. And this is where sometimes I get a bit very... He says, and I quote, at the end of the day, we also need to understand that, men are... Wait, I need to find the term. Men are providers. Hello, hi guys, good evening. Hey, I keep forgetting to talk about this thing. Hi guys, good evening. So I am using a new feature called Super Chat on YouTube. And what it does is if you're enjoying this conversation and you feel the need to, want to tip the YouTuber, which is me, please feel free to use the Super Chat to bless me. $2, $1, whatever the amount is that the Holy Spirit lays upon your heart, please use it. This girl is trying to make some money while she's blessing the world with content. Thank you so much. So let's go back to it. So this pastor comes on stage and he says the pastor of, and he calls the name of the church, and it's great. He's makes some point that I bet, making sense right now. And I'm like, okay, good. Until where he gets to the point where he says, at the end of the day, men are providers and women are nurturers. And it's important that you learn to stick to those roles. Now, that pissed me off because the layman will be going, oh, God, Deborah, here you go. You are just showing off, girl. I said $2, $3. You blessed me with a $10. God bless you. Thank you so much, Deborah. So he goes and he says that, men are providers and women are nurturers. And anybody that hears that, I'm sure you guys are already like, yeah, man, that makes sense now. It's true. Which technically speaking is true. But where the problem is when you start to say, stick to that role. Why? There are situations and relationships where the roles are reversed. And with it being reversed, The relationships are healthy. The marriages are healthy. They are flourishing in it and they are happy because they have created and found something that works for them. So what I mean is you have a situation where the woman is gracious, greatness. Thank you so much. God bless you. So you have a situation where the woman is the provider and the man is the nurturer. What is wrong with that? Are you saying that if that is what is existing in your relationship, that there's a problem? Are you trying to say that the man is less of a man because he chose to be the nurturer and the woman chose to be the provider? And I know a lot of women are saying, God forbid, I don't want to be in that situation. But listen, guys, it goes back to what I'm saying about us trying to make sure that we reject a lot of narratives that are out there. The fact that the man chooses to be the nurturer doesn't mean that he's not providing. Because at the end of the day, you nurturing is a service. But what I also mean about providing doesn't mean that he's not bringing bread to the table, even financially. It just means that in the grand scheme of things, she possibly is the one who has a full-time job in a corporate job while he is running his restaurant. Same thing, but he has more time. So he's choosing to spend more time sitting down, taking care of the family, providing food in the home because that's what he does. Oh, boss today, thank you so much. Taking care of the family, bringing food to the table because that's what he does. He's a chef, he cooks, and bringing money in. Maybe not earning as much, but either or they've been able to find a way where they can coexist and build a beautiful partnership and marriage with this. What is wrong with that? But when you sit down as a pastor, knowing fully well how Africans are, how they take every word that comes out of our spiritual leader's mouth, like as if no, it is golden, like as if no, it is Bible. You have a lot of people saying, I so agree, it's true, and then you have all the men. All the men now come on the stage and then they agree with him. Yes, man, we're just here to provide. That's all we do. At the end of the day, a woman's job is to be in the house and to be domesticated. So I'm in this clubhouse and I'm angry and I'm triggered. And so I go on Twitter, right? And I start to, oh, Gertrude, Mildred, thank you so much. You guys are really, I really didn't think people were going to, thank you guys so much. Thank you guys so much. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it. Christina, you need to stop blessing me. You're showing off. Thank you guys so much. So I'm trying to open up my Twitter so I can read what I decided to tweet because I just felt like people were going crazy and I couldn't understand it. Hi, Abby Boo, how are you? This should be made public. We really need to change the way we talk about it. We really need to. We really need to, especially how we bring down and pull down single people. I'm trying to open up my Twitter and it's really pissing me off right now because the internet is acting crazy. But please, guys, let's keep having a conversation while I'm opening this. This is so sad and pathetic. Yeah, the way people come on to talk about this. So this is what it is, right? And I say this with all level of humility, right? When it comes to conversations about whether you want to be submissive to a man or vice versa, it's a very personal thing, right? At the end of the day, both ways, nobody would ever submit. And let me not even use the word submit because I see that the word submit triggers a lot of people, right? Nobody would ever respect. Let me just use the word respect. You would not give respect to someone who isn't due the respect. Respect beget respect. If someone disrespects you, you have no reason to want to respect the person. And so it's vice versa. You can only be submissive to someone who shows you love, who shows you support, who appreciates you, who feeds and fuels your soul, and vice versa. I don't know if you guys understand what I mean, right? When it comes to this conversation of submission, it's both ways. Right? And it's all about understanding. And that's why I keep saying it's an individual thing. If you read the Bible, how you choose to understand it, interpret it, and live by it is your choice. But it's a choice that you have to be intentional about. And while you're being intentional about it means that whoever it is that you end up with, you need to be able to have these honest conversations with the person prior to, where you tell the person, this is what my understanding is of this. What is yours? And then both of you come to that mutual agreement where you've decided that, okay, this is how we both understand this, and this is how we're going to choose to move forward. The notion that men need respect while women need love, I hate that. Everybody needs respect. And I keep telling people that, what are the few things that I learned in my parents' relationship? I keep telling people, it wasn't that they didn't love each other, but the greatest thing I took out of it is respect. I have a family friend who is a beautiful young lady. And for the longest time, she's so pretty that I remember when we were growing up, she always had boyfriends. And when it was time to get married, she brought this way older guy to us. And I couldn't understand or see it. But then I'm like, ah. So I asked her, she's like a cousin to me. And I'm like, why are you with this guy? He seems like a gentleman. He seems very sweet, but I want to know why this one, why not the other ones? And she said, Bimbo, I respect him. If at all before, I thought respect was a joke. And even though I understood and I saw it in my parents, I didn't get it. I realized it. You see, after this feeling of love fades away, what makes you want to stay with this person is respect. And what we don't understand is that respect is love. Because if I respect you, it means I don't want to hurt you. If I respect you, it means I don't want to belittle you. If I respect you, it means I take your feelings into consideration. If I respect you, it means I like you. If I respect you, it tentatively means that I love you. And so men and women, everybody needs respect. So to say that, men want respect and women want love is stupid. Everybody wants respect. Nobody ever wants to be belittled. Nobody wants to be disregarded. Everybody wants to be made to feel like they are somebody and they're important. And that's what respect is. So men and women want respect. No woman will marry a man that she doesn't respect, regardless of whether she loves him or not. Which is why when you see situations where they're married and you hear her say she loves him, but look at the way, man, no more. You cannot love your husband and disrespect him, and vice versa. Which is why when people end relationships, most times they tell you they didn't fall out of love. He just didn't respect me. He didn't regard me. So all that conversation, the thing they vex when I hear men want respect, women want love. Are we animals? Who love help? Love is great, but it's not the only thing that can help make a foundation solid. Love is an emotion. It's a feeling. It is fickle. It fades in, it fades out. It needs to be built daily. Think about how many times your siblings vex you. You love them, but how many of you have gone weeks, sometimes even months, without talking to your sister or brother because say the person vex you, but that's your blood. So now imagine when you're married to someone that is not blood related, that you did not grow up together, that you're from different moral understanding and upbringing. It's a lot. It's a lot. And so there are days where that love will not be able to sustain you. But that respect, that this person wakes up every day and chooses to still be with you. This person wakes up every day and chooses to grind for you, to heal you. Do you understand? To ride with you. Listen, mates. I don't know what people see. I don't know. Somebody, like I said before, now back to conversation that we're talking about, will see all this and say, people, if you know all this, then why are you single? Let me tell you what it is, girl. I'm a speck and a half. And I'm not talking about that just physically. I'm talking about with the wealth of wisdom that I have. And I'm at a point where I'm learning to speak on the beautiful qualities God has blessed me with. And one of them is wisdom. And I'm thankful for it. For the longest time, I downplayed it. But it's important I start to speak it into existence. And not a lot of people can handle it. And when I say people, I'm talking about men. And so when I say, a lot of us need to work on ourselves, both men and women, a lot of men need to do a lot of work as well, you see. It's very easy to say you don't want a masculine woman, but you want a strong, independent woman. You don't know what it is to be with one. A lot of you think you do. A strong, independent woman will never demasculate you. Is that a word? We're not here to pull you down. We're here to build you up. We're here to have your back. We're here to ride for you. But in order for me to ride for you, you got to ride for me and hard. You understand what I mean? I remember growing up, I used to say things like, you need to make sure that the man that you marry, he loves you 80% and you love him 20%. I don't want all of that. What I want is 50-50, period. That's what I want. I want us to be equal partners in everything. I want when I got you, you got me. You understand what I mean? I want when I'm able to tell you something, you're able to take it because it's coming with love. And I want vice versa. You understand what I mean? But you can't be intimidated. Oh my God, fine Ninja. Jesus Christ. Thank you so much. Listen, fine Ninja, that's $20. Ooh. God bless you. God bless you. And it's worrying, but it exists. And I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm going to tell you guys some of the struggles that are going on. I need you guys to know what it is. I've had people approach me and I've had people send people to approach me, and the constant conversation is always, I find you very intimidating. And I'm like, how can you find me intimidating when you've not even tried to speak to me? just the way you carry yourself, the way you just talk, the way you express yourself. And I'm like, if I was a doormat, would you want to talk to me? Oh, no, 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 no. So I love it. I admire it. I like the way you carry yourself. I like the way you just portray yourself. I like the way it says class and stuff, but I just feel like sometimes it's too much. And I'm like, oh wow. So how would you like me to be? Tell me. How can I find this middle ground to, meet you halfway? How do I down myself to make you feel better? And so I want us single women to understand, like I said before, we need to be very intentional. If you're interested in dating and interested in getting married, you need to find ways to put yourself out there. It's important. But ultimately, you don't want to lose who you are. I said for the longest time, I downplayed who I was. There was nothing that my friends have not told me. Meanwhile, the funny part be saying these friends, none of them have ever tried to introduce me to anybody. But Bimbo, you're too picky. Bimbo, you're too this. Bimbo, you're too that. And so for the longest time, I would always suppress myself. You will set me up on this. This is where I'll be sitting. First of all, I'm always there early. Always early. Bimbo is punctual. Now here I go to sit like this. Hi guys, welcome. For those that are asking what we're talking about being single as a modern woman. And it started from a conversation that I had heard on Clubhouse. And so I'm here to just share that, and then we're all sharing our thoughts. And I'm also talking about this new super chat feature that allows you to bless me with some coins if you think I'm making sense. So for the longest time, I would go on these dates and I would be very shy. I would not know how to. By the way, for those that don't know, I'm actually very shy. And when I mean shy, I mean I'm not. If I don't know, I can talk like this now because I know this now. You guys are right behind the camera, right? And so we're just having a conversation. If I see you guys in person, I'm gonna be quiet. Quiet, because I'm very, only my mom and my family members know I'm actually very, very shy. I don't like people to have the wrong misunderstanding of me, but then I'm also very strong-minded, especially when it comes to something I feel strongly about. But best believe I only speak about things that the Holy Spirit has laid on my heart. And once I say it, I'm going to say it, period. And so for the longest time, I would sit down and I would try to downplay who I was, I said there was a time I went on a blind date and we're talking, and we're talking about something and it had to do with a moral ending. And I disagreed with him and I gave him my perspective. And he said, that's the problem with babes like you, Shy. Your moral standards are too high. I've said this before and I'm saying it again. I walked out of the dates. I literally just carried my bag and I went. I didn't continue conversation with him because you see, there's a lot in this world that is going on. And the last thing I want to be or be around is somebody who has an issue with someone who has moral standards. We live in a world where there's so much immorality, and I'm not judging anybody. But I would like to think that if you're around someone who has moral standing, be appreciative of it. You might not be there yet, which is okay. And I'm not one to ever judge anybody. So I wasn't even judging him. But to think that he was judging me and we are just getting to know each other, it means anything that I do or any opinion that I have, you're going to have a problem with it. That's already the end for me. And so for the longest time, I would downplay who I was, just simply because I was worried. There were so many people that had spoken on me. And you might think I'm not that girl, and I'm not, but I'm also a deep thinker. So when I would hear my friends say, you're too picky, Bimbo, you're too strong, you need to always smile when you go to all these places, you can't just be frowning your face, people don't want to approach you. I will go somewhere, this is the way my face will be. I hate the place, I'm not happy, I'm not having fun. But because they told me I need to go out more, I need to put myself out there, I will wear makeup, I'll wear clothes, and I'll be like this. For the longest time, I did all of this because people told me who they thought I was. And then after 2020, guys, this is just last year. Bear in mind that I've always been very self-aware, but 2020 was a year of unlocking for me. My emotional intelligence went to a different level. My self-awareness became ×3. And I realized that in this world, you need to first of all accept who you are. And it's important that you try to find a tribe and a group of people that would know you and accept you and understand you. But it's also okay when you are around people that don't. That's life. Not everybody will gravitate towards you. No, not everybody will get you. And so I've said, I'm done. I'm done with all of this. So anytime a guy will talk to me now, I will be myself. There are those that will stay. There are those that will go. But for every time that they've gone, they always come back. And it makes me laugh. Just yesterday, I still told one, call me, hey, what's up? What are you doing? I just want to say hi. So are you staying somewhere right now? Nope. Oh, wow. Okay, now, I just want to say hi anyways. If you're free, maybe I'm free. But what's wrong with you now? Chill now. You started again, man. I'm like, no. You've known me for a year and a half. The first time you do know me, you were talking to me, you seemed like you were interested. Halfway through, when he gets to that point where, you can tell he likes you, but then you see that he wants certain things that you've told him already from the jump that, listen, I'm not ready, I'm not there yet. And he says, okay, then you notice that the consistency drops. But yet you keep your own pace. So I'm still giving you at least 95. You went from giving me 95 to giving me like 25. And I'm that babe where I don't have a problem with reaching out. So I will still call you, I'll still check up on you. But all of a sudden from that 25, you just switch to 0. I'm finna stop, period. And then I stop, and then you now start back again. They always come back. And so I had to ask him yesterday, what do you want from me? And he's like, listen, I think you're a dope girl. I think there's so much that you bring to the table. This bring to the table. Shout out to Blue Therapy. Now conversation, now people know we hear word. Anyways, I think there's a lot that you bring to the table. I just feel like sometimes you come off too strong for me. I said, okay, great. So for a year now, I've been coming off too strong for you, but every time you would ghost in and you would ghost out again. Why are you ghosting in and ghosting out? Sure, I'm too strong. Just ghost and never come back. It's like, no, that's not life, Sometimes you always just want to be sure. I said, want to be sure of what? He said, you just never know. You just want to be sure. I said, okay, great. Cool. No problem. And that's the way I ended the conversation. What the sure is that he wants to eat his cake and have it. So you want to go out there. You want to feature and check out what it is. But every time you go there and you taste it and you realize, it's great for a second, but it's just not it. You come back again. And you want to be with this solid girl who is sound, but is too strong for you sometimes. At this point in time, there was a time when I would say it was me. And I would sit there and I'll be asking God, what else do I need to bring to the table? What else? But I realized that the problem is not in me, it's a he problem. You see, there are a lot of options and nobody's disputing that. But let's not be deceived that the same way that there are enough options, i.e. there are a lot of girls out there, there are also a lot of guys. And so I too could be going around misbehaving and checking out my options. But I'm choosing to observe from a distance. The truth is that he's just not yet ready to focus. And so he's lucky that for every time he calls, I still pick up. But one day, monkey go, monkey no go come back. And that's what happens in life. So while you're single, like I said, take the time to know who you are at the core of it all. Take the time to have realistic, honest conversations with yourself. You need to be very self-aware. Know who you are. Know where your shortcomings are. Nobody is void of flaws. I am flawed even as I am. But what I do know is that I know where my strengths are. I know where my weaknesses are. And at every point in time in which anybody points it out to me, I own up to it. Accountability is very important in getting to know yourself and in getting to know what you want and what you don't want. So that when you're around people that are giving you what you don't want, you can check out. And that's on per. That's on per. That's on period. You need to. It doesn't mean you're overconfident. It means you get to a point where you're tired of the BS. Jesus. Yay, my choice. How my J's. Tony, is that you? Mate, that's the whole 50. I gotta call my moms. Y'all blessing me today. $50. Thank you so much, Tony. Thank you so much, Tony. Thank you so much. That was so sweet. I didn't expect that. Thank you. When you get to that point, then you start to operate on like a different level. And that's the level that I'm at right now. I'm not void of flaws. I know what these flaws are. I'm open to being. And that's the journey that I'm on right now, actually. So even in this, my singleness, the journey that I'm on right now, after realizing that I wasn't intentional enough and now I'm being intentional, is learning to be vulnerable. For the longest time, there's so much I've carried by myself. And I know when people hear this, people always assume that there was trauma. Never. None of that. No trauma whatsoever. None of that whatsoever. When I mean learning to be vulnerable, I went through a season that was very hard for me, and that was my dad's death. And I keep telling people that death is such a huge thing and that it affects people differently. And this was 11 years ago. And it was also at my prime of self-awareness. And I went through that grief with my family. We're only 3 plus my mom. And I dealt with that, but I had nobody to lean on emotionally. And so what that did for me is that it made me create stronger walls. So I overcame that grief because I was a daddy's girl. I'm the firstborn daughter. My brother's first, I'm second, but I'm the firstborn daughter. And if you're a firstborn daughter, then you can attest to how we cling to our daddies and how we're just very daddy's girl. And so I went through that grief because for 4 years, my dad had cancer. And after cancer, my dad passed. And I went through that period in my life by myself with no emotional support, just Christ. And even necessarily, it wasn't even Christ, because at that point in time, I was very upset. Thank you so much, Tony. I really appreciate it. At that point in time, I was very upset, so I couldn't even pray. But God got me through it. And so I felt like I went through that journey. And if I could survive that, then I could survive anything. And so I didn't realize how I started to build walls. And I started to realize that I didn't need anybody. And so when it came to emotions, I would sit down with myself and I would battle myself, guys. I'm talking about physical fighting. I would sit down with myself and I would have conversations. Somebody tells me that this is what they think about me and this is the way my behavior is. I would trash it out. And then if I feel the need to, I will call, I will apologize, and I would move on. Someone does something to me that upsets me, but I don't want to express myself. I will sit down. Is there any point in trying to get, a middle ground with this person? I just had so many things that I just dealt with internally. Work would stress me out. I would not call anybody to burden anybody because I'm like, everybody's dealing with their own shit. And what that ended up doing was building walls. And so when I'm around guys that I necessarily feel like I gravitate towards and I need to be a bit more emotional or vulnerable, it was hard. He wants to send me a gift. He wants to buy me things. I'm like, why do you feel the need to? I didn't ask you for it. And he's like, Abimbola, just calm down a bit. Just let me take care of you. Why do you need to take care of me? I got me. And so now I'm at that point where I realized how much of that I did over the last 10 years that was detrimental because it pushed a lot of people away. And being able to be vulnerable with yourself is a very painful task because it's like you're stripping yourself. And it's easy for people to tell you who they think you are because you can either agree or disagree. But when you have to look yourself in the mirror, and tell yourself who you are, it's a humbling experience. Remember, sure, you get cash up, lab paper. I'm done with you. And when you have to sit down. Oh, thank you so much, Christina. Thank you so much. When you have to sit down with yourself and be very vulnerable with yourself, it's a very humbling thing. And so I had to sit down with myself and come to that realization that I was part of the reason why I was single. So in all this, I've realized a lot of things. And so this is me unburdening myself from all of those things and trying to see how I can do better. So if you're single, you need to realize a lot of things about yourself. And while you're realizing it, start to unlearn and find ways to relearn a lot of things. Vulnerability still doesn't come easy for me. And so it's going to take a very strong-willed man to be able to break those walls. But I'm also being intentional on working on breaking those walls, I'm learning that not everybody is out to get me. I'm learning that it's okay to let people in. And when I mean people, I have friends and I believe that people will always disappoint you. So I know that. But I mean in terms of the fact that it's okay to be hurt. Although I still believe that sometimes if you can avoid hurt, avoid it. But these are things that I'm learning and unlearning. And so, like I said, that's why I'm single. So you lots keep telling me why you're single, but don't let anybody speak on you, man. Not only guys, it was women also, but thank God we have overcome. Hallelujah. It's true too, guys. I didn't like anybody giving me anything. Abby can testify to that. Because Abby and I were always fighting. Hey girl, what's up? So I see that you were talking about something. You want me to get it for you? I'm like, nope, I'm good. I got it. I don't need you to get me nothing. And she's like, Bimbo, you started again. Can you calm down? And so with vulnerability, it's a big issue for me. And I said the reason where it stemmed from was my dad dying and dealing with that emotionally. And you know how you don't realize how something so little can affect the trajectory of your entire life. And it takes you being able to sit down, pause, and start to nitpick and open yourself up to yourself to be able to see where the thread got loose a bit, and how you can reel it back in, I wish this was, I really want to bring people on here to tell me why they're single and what they think they can do about it. It's very, very difficult to unlearn these things. And it's a constant journey. I want us to understand that. So, but I think the first step, right, is realizing it and accepting it. And I think that's what a lot of people struggle with. Like I said, it's hard to look at the man in the mirror. It's hard to look at your own reflection. It's hard for you to look and say, this is who I really am. But once you're able to, then I think that's like the big step to things. Christina's name is Gift. Thank you so much, Gift. It's very important, and I want us to get there. But I also want us to stop shaming people. In this same clubhouse, while we're having this conversation, right? As for me, men have shown me. FA, even if men have shown you, don't ever let it stop you from wanting to still find love, because you deserve to be loved, sweetie. And you're going to find it. Yeah. In this same clubhouse, while we're having all these conversations, there were a bunch of just little things that were just coming up and that were very obvious to me, which was people shaming single people. So for every time somebody would have a counter opinion to the general opinion that was agreed upon, the first question they will ask you is, are you single? And when the person says yes, that explains why. And I'm like, what do you mean? I don't think I need to be married or in a relationship to be able to speak on a relationship. You know what I mean? So if you're one of those people that have ever judged single people, stop it. It's just, it doesn't make sense. There's no need. Faith, I'm single because guys think that I'm proud and I'm sitting on a high horse. For me, it's a lot of women that actually think that. I hear a lot about how I should calm down. They translate my courage and pose as pride. So there was a time in my life where I would tell you that you should tell them that they should koshi. What that means is they should get out. But what I would say to you is this: when people say lots of these things to me and about me, I take it on and I challenge myself. I take time out to sit down and say, Bimbo, are you really this kind of person? And most times, and I'm being honest with you, very few times are certain things that are said about me very accurate. Most times it's a lot of people projecting their insecurities. And so when you've been able to sit down and access and assess the situation and find out and figure out who you are at the core of it all, you take what you can and what you want to work on, and the rest you throw it back. You throw it back and you reject it. So a lot of things people try to project and I reject it. But I would say take the time out to just sit down and think about things and say, okay, are there certain situations where you've come off as this kind of person? If there were, what would have been the alternative reaction to this situation? And if you realize that, listen, it's a them problem, not a you problem, then girl, go out there and spread your wings. Go out there, spread your wings and fly. A lot of men don't know what they want, and a lot of men need to work on their emotional intelligence. Now, when I'm saying a lot, I'm trying not to generalize, but I'm being very honest with you. Even grown-ass men are very emotionally challenged, and it's a problem, especially when it comes to Nigerian men. I'm just letting you all know, because listen, bulk of majority of my friends, they're guys, and I can tell you this categorically speaking, that a lot of them, their emotional intelligence, they're shit on point 5. They need to grow up. Like, you don't need to be burnt to know that fire. My dear, I always talk this thing every day. I'm single because I've been so uptight and not open-minded. That's okay. And I'm also battling and still battling with low self-esteem. Thank God I'm learning self-acceptance and self-love. I'm sending you hugs. Oreolua. We all deal with insecurities and self-esteem issues. And I think the biggest way to be able to move towards that is realizing that nobody's perfect. And that even the most perfect person still sees imperfection. And so when you realize that, then you realize that, listen, all you can do is just be yourself, So I pray that you really overcome that and understand that it's a continuous journey, That days where I look at myself and I'm like, listen, girl, you come a long way. Girl, you looking snazzy today. And then tomorrow I wake up and I'm like, look at you. Look at that double chin. Oh, girl, you hella chunky. So it's a constant journey of trying to make sure that you fight. You fight to always see the good in yourself, to see the better in yourself. It's hard, but it's a constant journey. Nobody is there. Nobody. Don't let anybody deceive you. Nobody's there. Hi guys, welcome to my channel. If you're just joining, we're having conversations about being single as a modern day lady. And I was talking about, where this had stemmed from a conversation on Clubhouse. I'm also using a new YouTube feature called Super Chat. So if you feel like I'm making sense, please feel free to bless the YouTuber. Thank you. It's a new revenue stream of income where, the YouTubers are able to create this kind of content and you bless us with money. So thank you very much for those who have been very gracious, especially Tony with the $50. I'm shook. Thank you guys so much. All right. I agree that men need to work on themselves. Listen, they do, but they will not agree. I'm single because I'm not old enough. Although some of our classmates have boyfriends, but I'm too young and I don't have the time. That's okay too, gift. I believe there's time for everything. I believe that I'm a firm believer that there's time for everything. I feel like a lot of Generation Z people are doing a lot too soon, but that's not it's not my place to speak on things like that. So yeah, I'll say take the time, and when you're ready, do you. I'm single because I'm not ready for a relationship yet. And that's okay too, David. I was there. I've been there. So I hear you. Um Yep, super chat, please. Oh, bless you, gift. My sisters enjoy your single. My sisters enjoy your single. Please, please, please. Beautify yourself, love yourself, take yourself on this, pamper yourself, enjoy God's presence. I totally agree with you, Modupe. I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you. Enjoy your singlehood. It's the time to build and work on yourself. But where do the good balanced people, where them they? More gracious, even myself, I define the balanced people. Honestly, men need to grow up. I am single because I'm not ready to be in a relationship, probably because of past experiences that stressed me out. Or I really always feel bad when I hear that people are, abstaining from being in relationships just because of past experiences. And I can imagine that, when you've had a really traumatic past experience, it's very hard for you to want to step into something new. But I also feel like sometimes the devil tries to hold us back from experiencing greatness. I want us to always try and realize that not every situation is going to be the same. I want us to be hopeful with the fact that, that you had that the salt in the last rice was too much. It doesn't mean that the salt will be the same in this one that you're about to cook, because you've learned that you shouldn't put as much. So you're definitely going to reduce the quantity. So I want us to realize that, don't let the past dictate your future. I know it's easier said than done, but if being in a relationship is something that is of value to you, if being married is something that you want in your possible future, then it's important that you don't let fear hold you back. Because I used to let fear hold me back. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Tolu, me, the one Generation Z that doesn't fit into any Generation Z statement. Shout out to you, Tolu. Oh, chick therapy. Thank you so much, chick therapy. Girl, you guys are blessing me today. Thank you guys so much. That is so sweet. Thank you, chick therapy. What do you think about open relationships? Listen, gift, when it comes to questions like this, I always tell people, it's so easy for everybody to tell you what they think, but at the end of the day, last, everybody will still do what they want, right? An open relationship is all about different understanding and perspective of what it is. If it's based on what the general term is, which is, dating multiple people or seeing multiple people, I mean, to each his own. I don't want to be in a open relationship. I want to be in an exclusive relationship. But then, technically speaking, if you're in an open relationship, knowing and dating different people, then maybe you're just date. I don't know. But I just know that I just want one man, one woman. That's me. What do you want? At the appointed time, my right will come. It may take long, but please wait. It will come. It will come for sure. For sure. Generation Z wants to do a lot. Listen, I've learned not to speak on them. They can fight. Why am I single? I'm single is the most of the guys that I'm single because most of the guys that I've dated were not giving me the same energy I gave. I mostly did the calling, texting, and I was tired, so I quit. I hear you. That can be exhausting. I also think I'm still single because I also am an all or none person. And most people just aren't ready to take it all. They want only the things they can handle, not the confident, strong-willed me. That's okay too. I think balance is important, And like I said before, while you are an all or nothing kind of person, it's important that you gravitate towards something that is also somebody who's also the same way, so that way both of you can feed off each other. I think where a lot of people tend to is where there are lots of things that you want, and the person that you're with can't meet up to it and doesn't want the same, So yeah, I think it's important to have conversations about things like that. Same, just one man, one woman. Having a shout out from Ghana. Shout out to you in Ghana. What's your take on marrying a father of two? This is very interesting, and let me tell you why. So for the longest time, this is until like about a year and a half ago. Shout out to growth, you guys. You guys are not listening. So for the longest time, when people always asked me, would you ever date a man who has kids? it was never even about whether he's been married before. It was always he's never been married, but he has kids. And my reply will always be no. I don't need that kind of thing. I don't believe that I've kept myself this long. I've done right by Christ, and he will want to reward me with someone with such a burden. And so it took a lot of unlearning, like I said before earlier, for those that weren't here, for me to realize that why do we assume? And I gave the example of where you think because you're a virgin and you've kept yourself, both man and woman, and you've abstained from all these things, God is going to bless you with the best man ever. And then when you are now with a man that is just useless, you now start to say, but did I not keep myself? Did I not do everything you said? Why would you do this to me? Why do we assume that the reward for good behavior is good things? And it took having a conversation with a man of God, but a man of God who's woke, for me to realize that life doesn't really happen like that. And it doesn't mean that God doesn't love us. It also means that sometimes there's a story he's trying to tell us and teach us, right? So based off of that, I can now tell you that I don't think there's anything wrong with marrying a father of two. I think what is important for me is having a bit of precedence about his past. I would like to know what happened, why the previous relationship with the mother of his kids didn't work out, and then try to know this person on a fresh new page, and then decide if I want to be with this person. I have friends and I know people who are blessed right now with amazing men and women, vice versa, who had kids previously. And the kind of joy that I live in. I just spoke to you guys about my cousin, who I said for the longest time, hot babe. She never married any of the young guys that were dating her. When she was ready to marry, I'm telling you that she was like maybe 20, 28. And this guy then was in his 40s. And we couldn't, I'm talking about mid 40s. And I'm like, why are you with this guy? She's like, Bimbo, I respect him. And he had a kid then because he was previously married. And now they've been married almost 10 years. The kid is now 18. She has 2 kids with him. And they are living in bliss. So don't use people's past to judge them. It's important to know, but it's also important to know what you feel in your heart and to pray to God. And you'll be shocked. Because these people, at the end of the day, they're human beings. Sometimes it's just bad circumstances. Sometimes it's just bad luck, that put them in the situations that they are. So I'm open to it now. Before, I told you no, like I said, because I'm like, how many people have I dated? What have I done? My slate is clean. You're not going to bring me baby mama drama. God forbid it. But now I'm like, listen, if he a good man, if he love me, if he love God, if he treat his kids right, if he has respect for his baby mama, and I'm gravitating towards that uncle, I'm not going to block my destiny. So don't block your destiny. Be opened, is what I'm saying. So yeah. My auntie once told me that I was possessed simply because I told her I'm not ready for any emotional commitment yet. Annie, listen, take your time. Nobody can go through what it is that you might go through. So don't let anybody tell you. If you're not ready, you're not ready, period. Gift, I would like to meet you. Oh, bless you. Assumptions. I am single because I'm celibate. So, for the longest time, that was also a crutch of mine. There is out there in the world. For the longest time, that was a crutch of mine. And I want us to realize that sometimes the devil tries to use that to hold us back. And I'm trying not to be spiritual here, but that's the only way I can explain it. You know what I mean? And the reason why I say that is because I know people that were celibate for the longest time. And in their celibacy, they met amazing men and women who were willing to wait with them. And they went on this transitional journey to when they got married and now are happy and blessed. So I want you to not stop yourself from getting to know people because you think that everybody just wants your body. I don't know if that makes sense. And I know it's hard. Listen, I've been on dates with people. I've been in conversations with people that this celibacy thing, this abstinence thing is an issue. And like I said, they will always go and they will always come back. There's one that will always come every time. How far now? So it don't happen. No, we still celibate. Okay, cool. I'm just going to check up on you. We should hang out one of these days. What are we hanging out for? You say you don't want to date me because you cannot abstain. So what we hanging out for? Nah, brother. tense, but I bind you. You know what I mean? But I'm still not going to stop wanting to meet people and talk to people and get to know people because of that. So, I'll say be opened. What's celibate? Oh, I'm gonna go and Google. Please go and Google, go and Google, go and Google. I used to think like that, and life taught me a good lesson. I just never get the urge or feeling of the need to be in a committed relationship. And that's okay too. That I've learned not to judge people. Listen, I have a friend that every time and it's actually a girl. So there are guys that always do that. But I have a friend where every time she says she's ready to be in a relationship, as soon as one comes, she will run away. Like, she will just use herself to cock block herself. And that's not because she didn't like the person. So they would date for a bit, but when the emotions start to get really heavy and she needs to give a bit more, she never wants to, just because she's not yet there. And that's fine. But it's something that you need to start to work on, so that by the time you're ready, you don't meet someone who is just like you, who is just like you were before. I don't know if that makes sense. So yeah. And he said, I'm so beautiful. You're so sweet. I really can't believe you guys are still riding with me and we're having this conversation 17 minutes after. Thank you guys so much for this. Please make sure you subscribe to my channel. Also, please use the super chat feature and feel free to bless me if you want to. My friend says I'm an old soul. Listen, we are old souls. Modupa, you're laughing when you're asking me what is celibate. Don't be asking me this kind of questions. What you want me to tell you? Celibate means not having sex. Different from being a virgin, though. Well, so you see, there's a well, listen, I keep telling people you can speak on what you want to speak on. Celibacy, abstinency, whichever one you want to call it, not having sex. People are not going to go around telling you they're virgins or they're not virgins, and it's really nobody's business. But either or, it just means you're abstaining from sex. So you're choosing not to have sex. So yeah. Oh, why isn't it showing? Do you want to pull up? Okay. Love the fit. Thank you guys so much. I had to shoot a video for a brand. So yeah, and after that I had to shoot a video for YouTube that I need to edit, that I've still not eaten, and it is 9 o'clock. I've not eaten today, guys, and I'm not sure I'm gonna eat. So yeah, such is life. But yeah, this is very true. Being celebrated isn't easy, especially when you meet a guy you like so much but isn't ready to wait with you. But grace makes it easy. Grace does make it easy. Grace does make it easy. And I think also knowing that, the wait is worth it. Sometimes it's hard. And I'm not going to lie to you guys. I was still having a conversation with my friend the other day. And I was like, listen, man's is going to be 35, yeah? And man's cannot turn 35 and still be like, what is this, Lord? This was not the plan. This was not the plan. So there are days where you'll be like that and you will question yourself and you will question God. And you say, haven't I done enough? Sometimes you would act him. Haven't I done enough? What else you want me to do? And then there are days where you're like, listen, it is what it is. So it's crazy. The emotions are all over the place, especially the older you get. But I think once you know your why, as much as you always get those down times, your why would always be strong enough to push you and to keep you sound. And it's a beautiful thing. Trust me, it's a beautiful thing. So yeah, you need to know your why. I think say you people with the celebrate. I'm done with you. Can I do more hauls? Listen, right now, dollar is a lot of money. Hence why I'm telling you guys about the super chats. So please feel free to bless me. You understand what I mean? Dollar to naira right now is not easy. I just came back from Senegal. The amount I spent, woo. I'm producing work right now just so that I can make ends meet. So I would love to do another one, hopefully when I have time. Yes, Bimbo, looking fresh, oh. As always, beating my... Oh, bless you. Love your honesty and the way you are being open to us. Oh, thank you. Can you sleep on an empty stomach? No, not empty. I'll probably have cereal. Don't mind me. But last, you realize that them all just be jarred. The weight is also worth it. It always is worth it. This is off topic. I started a YouTube channel and it didn't really help me with my shyness, like people told me. I don't know why anybody will tell you YouTube will help you with your shyness. I don't think that's what it does. I don't think that's what it does, to be honest with you. I would say maybe try an app like Clubhouse. And the reason why I say that is because sometimes when you're in rooms where they're having conversations that you don't necessarily agree with, you feel the need to want to just speak up. I think overcoming shyness it's not an easy thing to do, but you need to be intentional about it. So keep working on it. Knowing your, oh, gracious, great. Stop all these blessings. I'm so shy. Thank you so much. How do you advise a shy person to put herself out there? Guys, so this is what I'll say. I really don't have all the answers. I can only give my opinions on things. And how would I advise a shy person to put herself out there? Just put yourself out there. I don't think there are really like rules and how to's with these things, you know. I think sometimes you get to that point where you just feel woke. And I'm not joking. Something inside you stares and you just want to be heard and you want to be seen. And when you get that desire, nobody's going to tell you when you just push yourself. So, but while you're waiting for it, you need to also do the back work. And I'll say that's just being intentional. So being very conscious of the fact and cautious of the fact that you need to get out of yourself. I would say, I'm not sure, but yeah. Knowing your why is very key. Definitely a boss a day. Bimbo, any tips for a budget for a single lady who wants to travel to Senegal? Listen, girl, that trip, I needed it. But Senegal is expensive. So what I would say is try to save as much as you can from now. But don't use my pockets to weigh your pockets. And the reason why I say that is because your pocket most likely might be more than mine. But I would say that anything is possible with what you have. I would say if you want to, first of all, start to make sure that you start to lock down tickets. I left my ticket buying till very last minute. And so because of that, my air ticket was expensive. So I would say have a plan and start to work on it. So if you want to go to Senegal maybe in December, maybe see how you can buy a ticket now and maybe it might be cheaper. I would say look at things like that. Also start to look at really convenient hotels, but also safe hotels. But like I said, Senegal is expensive just in terms of compared to Nigeria, Naira to Sefa. For example, they use only dollars, Sefa, or euros, right? And $100 is 50,000 Sefa. So that should give you an idea of roughly the cost of things in Senegal. So yeah, I would say just be prepared, but it's definitely worth it. Dating in Gen Z makes me feel like I have to compromise sometimes. So I think generally dating is all about compromise, and it's a hard pill to swallow sometimes because a lot of people just expect that, you know, you would always meet somebody that would just take you for who you are, flaws and all, but that's unrealistic. I think dating generally, whatever generation you're in, you definitely would always have to compromise. Where the battle should not be is compromising on the core things, on your morals and on your values, you know, things that you've always held strongly and believed dearly in. I don't think you should be compromising on them, but you should be open-minded enough as to when they're questioned, you sit back and think, why am I necessarily holding tight to this? And if your why, back again to your why, if your why is strong enough, then you hold on to it. I don't know if what I just said made sense, but yeah, I'm enjoying YouTube. Shout out to you, girl. Thank you again. Thank you for the love. I need to ponder why I'm still single. That's okay. Ponder why you're still single. Ponder it. Ponder it. But like I said before when people used to ask me, why am I single? I used to be so defensive. What kind of stupid question is that? What kind of question is that? But I've had to sit down and ponder on the whys, and I've been able to come up with the reasons as to why. And so now I'm now working backwards to try and come against those reasons, to start putting myself out there. So we working, you know, we're over here trying to desingle ourselves. Good day says, hi, shout out to you. I'm in a distant relationship, though I haven't met him before. We talk on the phone almost every day and he seems very serious. How do I know he's serious? Girl, I cannot tell you how you know. You see, what you just said now, I'm sure there's so many women and men on here. On this particular platform, how many are we? 158 of us that are able to tell you, run, run, run. Listen, girl, I don't know. But I'll say the first thing is actions. You know, actions don't lie. Actions don't lie. And it's kind of hard because you haven't met this person. So because you haven't met someone, it's always easy for consistency to always be top notch. And then when you meet the person, you're able to tell all these little But at the end of the day, let's be honest, technology is now woke. You guys talk every time. I would like to believe that you do video calls once in a while. So while you're getting to know this person, while you're getting serious about this person and you feel like this person is being serious about you, you need to be very intentional. It's time to start asking the hard-hitting questions. What does the person want in the relationship? Is the person comfortable enough with this distance that you guys are right now? Is the person willing to be committed to you? These are conversations that you guys really need to start having. But until you meet face to face, I don't think you ever really know how the person or how serious the person is. But I also want to throw you another curve. There are people that are in the same house with each other and they still don't know how serious the person is with them. So that's always life. It's like saying, how well can I really know my boyfriend before I get married to him? And then there's someone that will be married and tell you that I've been married for 20 years and I can categorically tell you that I still don't know my husband. You understand what I mean? So I'm saying think about it, but don't think about it too much. Think, ponder, pray about it, but also trust your instincts. Sometimes we don't pay attention to our innermost inner, your inner shenene, your inner shaniqua. So I would say pray about it. It's very important. I would say being very intentional with this person. Ask very hard-hitting, intentional questions and see how the person, responds back. Also, if family is important to you, see how you can start to get to know this person's family. It doesn't necessarily rule out anything nowadays in our generation, sadly. There were times when nobody will introduce you to their friends. Try to start checking off things that are important to you and be honest with this person. I think a lot of us shy away from having intentional, honest conversations. And the longer you leave these things to linger, the harder it is to ever come back to have those conversations. And by the time you're ready to, that's why you start seeing people say, imagine she was asking me, what are we? Imagine that you've been with someone for 6 months. The person has seen you finish. You have cooked, cleaned, physically, mentally, spiritually, giving all yourself to the person. You are not asking the person 6 months after what are we, and the person can't answer you. You're now wondering to yourself, how did we get here? It's because a lot of people shy away from having heart-hitting conversations. I'm not trying to say the minute you meet the person, let the person know that you want to marry and push this person away. But I'm telling you that an intentional person would always gravitate towards saying, and an intentional person would always be open to having conversations, about what it is that they want for themselves, at least, even if not with you or not, at least where the person is heading to. That kind of gives you it gives you something to be able to rely on. So I'll say have conversations. It's very important. Don't let these things linger. Oh, Henry, thank you so much, Joma. No jokes. I find joy listening to you because by far you make a lot of sense. Oh, bless you, gift. Hey, somebody insulted me for this my talk on top Instagram last week. But God bless you. Please, guys, use the super chat and feel free to bless me with coins. Thank you so much. Wait, I'm trying to get to love listening to. Oh, thank you, Metro. She might have the exception if she feels it should continue the distance thing. Dawn, I'm tired. You're honestly but it's nice to see. Oh, bless you. Thank you, Darren. Abosede said, even I don't have an answer for why I'm single. I like to think it's because I don't have time, but that's a lie. Girl, I used to tell myself that too. That's a lie, boo. I know I find it hard to be vulnerable. Oh, sweetie, I'm hugging you. We're in the same boats. I still don't understand this love thing, even me, girl. But I do know it exists. I hear that there's so much pressure on ladies when it comes to finding love, marriage, etc. It seems the guys always have it easy and really don't care as much. I actually disagree. I actually disagree. I think they act like they don't, but like I said, majority of my friends are guys, and at the core of it all of them want to be with good women, and they complain, "Babe, I'm tired of all these girls." My cousin just last week again, I know they do babes, I don't tire now. Wait me, I don't tire. It's a lie. They have the same conversations as well. I think it's just easier for them to act a bit more nonchalant, and I think because we women, we're more in tune with our emotions. That's why we're always open to just speaking up and having conversations like this publicly, while men would rather shy away from it because of society. It just is what it is. I'm single because I will not be disrespected. I can't talk down. I want you to think that you meet will disrespect. So, except there's a backstory, you're really enjoying this single life. Done. You can't be assuming. I've said it now. Should be most of I've told you. I'm saying go. Correct. A lot of people think like spending time by myself, and so in my state now tired, win and growth in my single time, I've enjoyed being. Understand what I mean? In my now I want to spend somebody else's money. Single time, I've enjoyed being able to be there for my friends. It's been a struggle most times because of the kind of work that I do. But yeah, I think there's so many things you can enjoy in your singlehood. But the same things that you enjoy in your singlehood, when you get to that point where you're ready to be in a relationship, they can also be such a burden to you because now you want more. So it's no longer enough. I don't know if that makes sense. So yeah. If you see me in your house next month, don't be shocked and buy my ticket. Don't buy ticket to my house, so it's a panorama. Don't do it. I have to go study. Oh, thank you, Asterad, for sharing and for blessing me with some coins. Thank you so much. What do you have to say about someone hooking two persons? Is it advisable for someone going into a relationship for the first time? So ladies talk, I don't get what you mean by hooking two persons. Do you want to explain further? Thanks so much. I tell you, you need ask Steve or ask Bimbo. Which one? Can she come out? Can't hear anything. Oh, guys, what happened? Oh, the connection was bad. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't even know. I'm single because I'm waiting for God's own time, as compatibility is key for me. Okay. Okay. So this is what I'll say as a Christian and as a born again. I will say while you're waiting on God as well, hope you're also doing the legwork. And the reason why I say that is because the Bible does say heaven help those who help themselves. So while you're waiting for compatibility, I've said this before, I hope you don't just think that while you're sitting in your house, God is just going to send a compatible person to you, you know. There are times when you will need to go through seasons of search and droughts and, you know, of water and watering and all that good stuff. So I'm hoping that in this compatibility and this search for compatibility, you're not just sitting down and waiting for God to just drop compatibility in front of you. You're actively, because it sounds like you're someone who wants to be in a relationship. So you're actively also searching. And when I mean searching, I mean being available and making yourself open for these things to come your way. I'm hoping. Yeah. Someone said, who needs ask Steve when we've got Bimbo? I super agree. Listen, guys, you guys are doing so much. Thank you guys so much. Also, again, thank you so much to everyone who has blessed me with the new YouTube feature, which is the super chat. You know, what that does is that if you think I'm speaking sense and I'm making sense and you're enjoying this conversation, you can, you know, give me a tip. So thank you so much to everyone who has. I'm really, really super grateful. Thank you guys. All right. Matthew said her name is Abimbola. Hi, Abimbola Craig. Happy Sunday. Hi, Sarah. How are you? Happy Sunday. Oh, Nuhu. Thank you so. No, Noha. Now, I don't want to spoil your name. Thank you so much. Matthew said, I like this lady very much, but I'm looking forward to seeing her. You like who very much? Matthew, I don't know what you're talking about. Bye, guys. I have to go. Bye, FA. Bye, girl. Oh, guys, this was so fun, especially because I didn't plan it. Like I said, I'd finished just shooting video. I was going to edit it. Then I just said, let me come on live, let me try this super chat feature. And it's been so amazing. Why do I feel like I'm the youngest here? It's okay. Nobody's judging you, girl. Age ain't nothing but a number. Ooh, so while we're having this conversation, someone was talking about, you know, what do they think about dating a younger guy? And they didn't ask about guys dating younger girls because that's always expected. And I have an answer for you guys. So there was a time when I would still take a second, and I'm going to be honest with you, you know. But there was a time when actively younger men were on my case, and it was painful. Let me tell you why it was painful. Not painful in a negative way, in a good way, but it was painful because they had good jobs. They were making good, stupid money. You know what I mean? And it's like they're ticking all the right boxes. But emotional intelligence was such a struggle, you know, and you know, I know they say, and it's one of those narratives that I really don't buy into, you know, that they say women develop quicker than men, but it's also one of those narratives that, as much as you don't want to buy into it, research does prove, and I mean both personal and, you know, general research, that, you know, women do develop faster and way more than men. So now imagine when you're dating someone who is younger. Now, I'm not saying that all young men don't have emotional intelligence. I'm saying these particular ones that were talking to me, you know, they were nice, they were kind, they were nurturing, they were they were providers, but they just weren't emotionally there. And I'm the kind of person where I don't like to be unfair to people, because I don't like people being unfair. I don't feel for you what you feel for me. I'll be very honest enough. And there are people even till now where I've been very honest enough with them about that, and they're willing to wait for me to get there. And that is such a selfless thing to do. For me, with this young man, it was one of those situations where I just knew it wasn't gonna happen. So we're great and better being friends. And most of them are still my friends right now, you know? But I don't think there's anything wrong with dating a younger man. I think if he ticks your boxes and if he meets you there emotionally, then why not if not? I have friends who are married to men younger than them. And when I say that they are blessed, I'm not joking, guys. I'm saying happily blessed. There's one particular one, my girl. My girl is in heaven right now. 2 kids, amazing. They just bought a house in this Lagos, Nigeria. The house is mad. They are both doing well professionally, emotionally. They are sound. They've grown so much spiritually. They're just on the same level. So, you know, if there's a younger man, what is happening to my internet? Guys, are you guys still here? Are you guys still here? I don't know if it's reading, but I don't know if it's working. Are you guys still here? It says my internet is acting crazy. Oh, guys, please comment if you're still here. Let me see what's wrong. Why it's there. Oh my gosh. I don't know if you guys are still here. It seems like it's still on. Okay, yes, you guys are. Oh, bless. Yes. So, I'm saying is, you know, oh, bless you guys. There's so many yes, 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 yes. Thank you guys. So then please don't stop yourself from happiness because of the narratives of what people are trying to tell you. I'd rather choose jeans than date a married guy, than date a younger guy. I don't necessarily have a reason for it, but nah. A boss a day. A boss a day. A boss a day. With it. You need to be woke with it. Listen. I said there was a time when I was like you. It's just the same way I told you, there was a time when someone would tell me, hey, Bimbola, I want you to date a man that has a child. I'll be like, God forbid. God forbid. Try and be open-minded. Try and be open-minded. Do you know my network is unstable? I'm so sorry, guys. This is Lagos, and I have 2 different internets that is working. Do you know what it is to say you would rather chew jeans than date a young man? Are you trying to tell me that if a young man is in front of you and he ticks every box that is of importance, of value to you and for you, but because he's younger than you, you won't date him? Don't say things like you rather chew jeans. That's extreme. Shout out to you, Dead Corner from Jamaica. I think that's extreme, and I think that's one of those things that I would say it's important that you try to unlearn, especially because you just said you have no reason. There are people that can categorically tell you why. So like I said, the people or the younger men that approached me, they had everything right. They just didn't have emotional intelligence. And if you've known me enough from the conversations that you've heard me say and have, then you know that you need to have a level. There gotta be emotional intelligence just because of the kind of person that I am. You know what I mean? But you say you have no reason. Boss said, you can't say you rather choose jeans or extreme. It's true that there are no good men. Can we hear you? I don't agree with that. It's just the same. I see there's so many things that I reject, and I was saying this on Instagram the other day, and it was funny as hell. So I said, and I think I tweeted about it on Twitter. I said all of them are going to say men are all just got engaged. Why are people getting engaged? Now, hold on. A bulk majority of people that is most likely for the wrong reasons. But regardless of, there's still a percentage of people that is for the right reasons. So for you to ask me that, do I believe there are no good men? There are good men. It's the same way that there's some people that say there are no good ladies, but there are good ladies. Me, I don't speak such on myself. They are good men. People they propose every day. People are meeting good people every other day. They are good men. You got to speak what you want into existence. They are good men. Joe. What if the guy is 6 months younger than I am? Imagine, 6 months is your issue. I just told you guys that my mother was a whole year, and I am my mother's daughter. I mean, every strong characteristical bone, if that's the word, in my body, listen, is for my mother. My father was Yoruba. My mother is Ishekiri. She's half Ijo and half Irobo. You understand? And then Ishekiri. So you understand where the stubbornness is rooted. Yes, my mother married a Yoruba man. One, a man that was younger than her by a year. Two, a man that did not school in England. My mother schooled in England. Do you know who my grandfather was? Go and Google late SAN Weber George Egbe. So you understand context of where my mother's pedigree is coming from. And shout out to my great grandfather, my dad's father. He was a reputable man in Ibadan. There's nobody that doesn't know the Craig family. But the point I'm trying to make is there were so many odds against them, and yet they were married and they thrived until my dad passed away 11 years ago. So 6 months is a joke, girl. Listen, you're gonna be okay. I call her my sister. The person that she's engaged to right now, she's 6 months older than him. I remember when he first started toasting her. She said, "People, I can't. Oh, people, I can't." Oh. Now they're about to do tan 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 because I told her, open your mind. Do you know the worst thing? When you know that you're the person that puts sand in your own garri, you will never forgive yourself. You will never forgive yourself. Especially when there's no reason. 6 months. My dear, will you come off and get off? You better go and date the gentleman. You will through the jeans and still marry a younger guy. That's how, like, Kechi, tell her, oh, help me, help me. Guys, please don't forget to use the true super chat feature to bless me. Thank you so much. Every once in a while, I feel the need to say so. Which one be emotional intelligence, emotion? Now, wow, no gracious greatness. It's emotional intelligence. Get it right. Today, for my first time watching you live, I'm happy here. Oh, thank you, Favor. Don't mind Kechi and Abosede. They want to kill me. That's so wrong. They are still good men. Of course they are. I don't agree with a lady dating a younger guy. Matthew, that's fine. You're a guy. That's fine. I'm not saying anybody should. I'm saying, please let me say it again and again and again. I'm saying if you meet a younger man and he takes everything on your list, everything, and your list is your list, so you decide. But the only thing is that he's younger than you. I don't think that's enough valid reason why you shouldn't be with him. And please, nobody should come at me with saying, you will start to disrespect him. That's a lie. If you love someone and if you respect someone, age ain't nothing but a number. Your sisters and your siblings and your brothers, are they not younger than you? Do you just call them on the phone and be talking to them anyhow? My sister that is younger than me, Titi, she will slap me. What's happening? I can't just call and just say, are you crazy? Who the hell do you think you are, man? I called you. Why didn't you pick up? Because she's younger than me? Of course not. Respect this begets respect. If you place and value someone and you respect that person, you will never disrespect them, regardless of age. It's not people that are married to men of 50 years old and they'll still call them you old fool. You know old past them. You know old enough to be their papa, but yeah, they would call some. It doesn't have anything to do with the other. You just need to open your mind. But to each his own. That's all I'm saying. I'm not here to tell you to date anybody that is younger than you. Joe, that's not what I said. I'm saying sometimes it's important to sit down and reevaluate your choices and your reasons as to why. That's all. Oh, thank you, Precious. half. So you be cosmopolitan, multicultural. Gracious goodness. I have a problem with you right now. You're coming for me. I don't like it. Eh, Is he is he honest? Yes. Is he God fearing? Yes. Is he hardworking? Oh, Kechi. Kechi coming through with the $5 blessing. God bless you. Guys, you know, it'll be nice if we can just clock 100. We clock 100, then we're good to go. I'm just saying. I'm not saying it's by force, guys. I'm just saying, you know, feel free to bless a girl. Abirari West says, guys, please let's be open-minded about issues because you never listen, you can't tell. Oh. And like I said before, guys, I was one where I had so many opinions about so many things. And if you tell me, I'll be like, no, 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 it can never happen. But there's something about when you choose to pivot your perspective. It's such a mind-blowing thing. It's so mind-blowing, it's painful. Because the minute you pivot your perspective, aka you open your mind, you see endless possibilities. Things that you thought were limiting before become limitless. Oh God. I feel like I need people to be saying an amen. I feel like I just need someone to just be saying amen, amen, amen. And I'm not, guys, jokes apart, it's a very aha moment. When you think you knew before and you realize that you didn't even know. You know, when you try to see things from people's angles, you try to understand things in a different way. Once you choose to let the scales fall off your eye, things that used to stress you before become nothing. And you don't realize how it starts to affect every aspect of your life. This open-mindedness is such a beautiful thing. I beg, may I shut up? Let's be going. Bimba, I want to ask a question. Our boss idea has come again. That might come off as being naive or silly. Girl, even me, I'm naive. Please ask away. But I'll ask anyways. How can one, or how do you figure out what you want? So, as far as my husband is still out there, they're good. Amen, girl. So I think this is what it is. And you see, I would take it a bit spiritual. You know, I think God has a sense of humor. And a sense of humor because even as human beings, right, the things that we want change every day. You know, just the same way the things that we liked before, you evolve, right? So I might have liked beans 10 years ago, probably even last month. Chicken is a good example. Let me use chicken. It's something very small, but you get the point. It's an illustration, right? You might like chicken, and then 2 months ago you ate one chicken and you just realize that chicken is such a waste of energy. Like, it's so much meat and so much flesh, and at the end of the day, what do you really get from it? Nothing. So you're exhausted and you're off eating chicken. And so what you want would always be like that. You don't want chicken anymore, but 2 months ago you liked chicken. Probably even last week you ate chicken, but you don't like it anymore. That's the same thing with what we want. So what we want would always change. And as we grow and we move towards different seasons and we evolve, because you're always evolving and you're always changing and you're always growing, right? You'll tend to realize that what you want sometimes pivots. And when I mean pivots, I mean it tilts. But at the core of it all, the things that you want stay the same. But you need to know who you are to know what you want. It's very important because, like I said, a lot of people will tell you what they think you want and what you should want. Society will project. The upbringing that you have will influence. The friends that you have will influence. You understand what I mean? The books that you read will influence. Social media will influence. You get where I'm coming from? But at the core of it, if you know who you are, you start to know what you want. I know, for example, I can tell you I want to be happy. And I mean genuine happiness. But I'm also aware that I can't be happy 24/7. I want to be with someone that would bring me joy. But I also know that the person's job is not to bring me the joy. If I can't find joy within, by myself, nobody can give it to me. I know I want to have money. I don't know how much, but I know I want to have enough. But I also know that there's sometimes when you will have enough and it still won't be enough. Do you understand what I mean? I know I want to be around people that want to root for me daily. But the reality is that there's times when even those people that want to root for me daily don't want to root for me. And that's okay. So I need to learn to root for myself. What you want, you know at the core of it. But you also need to know who you are. And also open your mind to the fact that it would change. It would always. But you have to choose what is of value and what you can still hold on to. So That's all I want to say. I don't even know if I just made sense, but more freestyle. I gave it to you. So yeah, I'm just trying to say, you have to know yourself to know what you want. Nobody can tell you that. So yeah, hold on. Oh, y'all be typing so fast. Okay, all right, saying that. Dawn said, if you change your mind, they start saying, oh, you are settling, because time is clocking, you are now changing your standards. They'll be okay, Jerry. I really feel age doesn't matter when the person does right by you. Oh, thank you, Rachel. Hi, Bimbo. Your advice is on. Oh, wow. Thank you, Oluwatodumi or Todimu. Thank you. What do you think about marrying someone who has a different faith from you? Listen, this faith thing, I'm coming. Just hold it like this. I'm coming back. I'm single, looking for a single lady for a serious relationship that will lead to marriage. Okay, Matthew. So I hear you, but your actions gotta talk the talk as well. You understand what I mean? Abby said, that's my girl. You see why I love you. You are blessed, Bimbo, and filled with wisdom. The wisdom will pour. This is my Ghanaian Abby. Guys, Abby's Ghanaian, oh, but she want to be Nigerian low-key. She know. I love you, boo. I like asking questions. I'm your sister Adiba. Shout out to your boss, Eddie Oshe, my Leonard colleague. I mean, but this exposition about age truly changed my mindset as I'm at the center of it right now. Oh, NSC, I wish you good luck, girl. Last, we go do 40,000 sub party for social distance. 40,000. I'm already on 40,000. I'm trying to get to 50. We're trying to get to 100, guys. Come on, guys. Let's make this happen. Also, feel free to bless your girl with super chat. Thank you. Let's move. Makes sense. You're making. Oh, bless you guys, man. Annie said TED Talk. Oh, you guys are doing too much. Abiyari said, I have had to unlearn a lot of things. So let's be ready to face issues as they come. You never get what you want all the time, but that doesn't mean you wish for the good things in life. I hear you. Sis, we're going to get to 50 subscribers in Jesus' name. Amen. Okay, so let me answer. Hold on. Let me get your name so I'm right. All right, Oluwatodimu. So this question about faith. Y'all probably wondering why I'm pausing, right? So when it comes to faith, and for faith, I think she's talking about religion. It's a very dicey thing, and I try not to speak on it a lot, simply because it's personal. It's personal because I'm Christian, right, and I'm born again, and how I choose to understand and interpret the Bible is personal. And it most likely might be different from how Abby, for example, chooses to understand and interpret the Bible. Then also your life experiences, right? That's also something that would definitely affect this. Now, that being said, as I've grown older, I've understood the importance of a lot of things with me and my partner being very similar. What I mean is this. I've realized that when you and whoever it is you get married to have the basic things in sync, then it makes friction less. I don't know if what I'm saying is making sense. If it is, please let me see. So for that alone, for me, it's important to marry someone of the same faith. Now, marrying someone of the same faith doesn't necessarily mean that the person is going to be good. And I've realized that. And that's what life does to you. You start to learn and start to realize things as well. So I want people to understand that, because somebody will now throw at me, but what if you meet someone who is just a great man and you've had experiences where you met Christian boys who treated you like shit, and then you meet the Muslim guy and he's clicking all the right boxes and he's a good person. So you will turn that down because of religion. That's when I now say it comes back to what you want and the battles that you want to face. For me, I've already understood and agree with the fact that whoever I'm getting married to most likely will not be not have certain things that I have. So even if we might be of the same pedigree, our morals will definitely be different. We will definitely have conflicts when it comes to certain things. How we want to raise our kids, whether we want our kids to have English names or not, how we want to discipline them, whether we want to beat them or not, whether we want to choose the talking route. We'll have so many other grounds that are already going to be different, that for me it's important to try and get a few things in check. And one of it is religion and faith. I really want to be with someone that has the same faith as me. That way, and the reason why I say this is not necessarily even just for the person. It's for the children that I'm bringing into this world. There's so many covenants I've taken with Christ, and I've added these children inside the matter, even though they are unborn. And they have to fulfill it because it's part of their given destiny. And for me to be able to do that, I need to be with a man of the same faith. It's easier. That being said, I have a cousin who married a man of Muslim faith. An amazing man, and they've been married now 25 years. She had to convert to Islam, and she was fine with it, and they're happy. I have Muslim family friends who he married a Christian girl, and he converted to Christianity, and they're happy. I have family friends who till date, she's Christian and he's Muslim, and they're happy. The back and forth they have every once in a while is when it comes to holidays and how to balance the faith with the kids. So it's all individual based, but what I would prefer is to try and make sure that when there are battles that I'm fighting, one of it is not faith. It's very important because of the kind of things I've gone through spiritually. It's very important that the person I'm with is equally yoked when it comes to that. Now, guys, when I use the word equally yoked, a lot of people tend to only use that word only when it comes to faith, but I think that we can be equally yoked on a lot of other things. Understanding, morals. So yeah, so I wouldn't say I'm against it, because I'm not one to speak on how you should go around living your life, but I would say personally I would like to be of the same faith with whoever I'm getting married to, just simply because it's one battle I don't want to fight. And right now they're not together because when it came down to the children, it caused a lot of commotion. People, and it goes back to what I'm saying about how we as humans, we grow and we evolve. In the interim of the now that you're in, you are fine with it, but we forget that we grow. Even when you're married to someone of all these equal things, there are times when your faith will be stronger than his. There are times when his faith will be stronger than yours. There are times when there's a season where you are in drought and this person is in more. There are times when there's a season where he is in drought and you are in more. Meaning that you point not even with the same faith self. There are times when, but those are struggles that you still have to overcome. And I'm not disputing that. But imagine when it's bigger and those little things start to fester. So yeah, for me, I won't do it, just simply because I have foresight as to where I want to go and what I want, and I've seen the good and the bad of it, but I'm choosing the direction that I want. So it has to be a personal choice, but I'm saying it's something you shouldn't take lightly. A lot of us young people in our generation, we use love for a lot of excuses. And I say excuse because we think it's enough not to be able to think deep. I love him and he loves me and we're fine with it. And, as we get older and we have children, we'll decide. But no, you need to decide now. Because when you're not clear on those decisions, it causes bigger issues. And people don't seem to realize that. It does. Because as we grow, as human beings, we evolve. So the things that you wanted yesterday, you don't want today. So even though he was fine with your children going to church, by the time he's 10 years into the marriage, he's grown spiritually stronger. Maybe he's now an alpha. There's no way that his children are not going to be going to mosque. It's not possible. Possible. And vice versa. So these are things that, and then what do you do? How do you find a middle ground? So there are just battles that I'm like, if I can avoid, let me avoid it. So that's my take on that. That's my take on that. I don't know if what I said made sense, but yeah. Okay. So for me, same faith is the way. Great. Yes, religion, precisely Christian and Muslim. Okay, good. So I hope I answered you. Oluwatoduminu. I hope I did. What I'm most concerned about is have the relationship with God when we face a challenge, we'll be turning to God for wisdom, guidance, and understanding. I strongly believe that you should be married to someone who is of the same faith as you because it makes things a lot easier. Yep. But on the real, God has a sense of humor. He hasn't tied the world to his chest. He hasn't. Oh. Thank you for your husband. But this, oh, thank you guys so much. You guys are so kind. I just subscribed. You're making too much. Oh, thank you for Milayo. Oh, bless. Please subscribe to my channel, guys. And please feel free to bless me with super send. Please. Thank you guys so much. Faith is so key in my opinion. It should be the first consideration before getting into any serious relationship. Yeah, I agree with you. Marrying someone of the same faith is key. There'll be times when you need your partner to hold your hand and pray, cry to God together, and discuss the Bible together or the Quran together. I agree. Bimbo, do you mind dating in your workplace like actors? So this question you have asked me, your business is not gonna burn. Your business, you're not gonna burn. So this is what it is with me, right? And there are a lot of conflicting factors. But I'll give you certain responses based on me knowing who I am and where I'm coming from. Like I just spoke about faith right now. A lot of things are very important to me, and there's so many things we struggle with in this world. And with social media and technology be more open and more vast, knowing who you are at the core of it is very important. Now that being said, a lot of people don't know my upbringing and they don't know my backstory. It's just the same, a lot of people think I'm an actor. That's not what I am. And so knowing where I've come from, the people that I grew up around, the schools that I went to, the people that I interacted with, it does influence the kind of things that I want and the kind of things I look out for in a partner, because that's the life that I'm around. Those are the people that I'm around. Those are the people that I've been around. Now, I'm not an out there kind of person. Man might be popular or famous, but I don't like that much attention. And so I'm not saying no to it, but I don't know how to answer this question without coming off somehow. I've tried to answer it before and I felt like the person put me in a corner. So anything is possible. That's the answer. Let me give my personal opinion to myself. For one time, for what the Holy Spirit is saying, Bimbo, let me be quiet. So this one time, I'm going to leave my personal opinion to myself on this. But I would say this, you just never know. But if you asked me if it would be my first choice, the answer will be no, for multiple reasons. And none of them is what a lot of you might think, actually. But yeah, but you just never know, An actor can be someone who once acted 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and right now is on a different path. You know what I mean? And so you never know. An actor can be someone who... Anyways, let's keep it pushing. Yeah, next question. Awalakoba. You try to put me in corners, bro. Zainab, faith is so key. In my opinion, it should be the first consideration before getting into a serious relationship. I agree. Also with genotype, marrying someone of the same faith is key. There are times they'll be together and need to hold the Bible. Okay, I've read this before, I think. Really enlightening, makes perfect sense. A little heartbroken though, but thank you. Oh, Oluwa Todumu, please, Toti, what the hell? Oluwatodimu. Yes. Oh, don't be sad, my love. Don't be sad. I'm not saying you should decide based on what I said. I'm just giving you a different perspective to think about. I don't know if you guys have talked about this. What do you think about dating apps? Oh, we haven't talked about this, but I did mention how I was on a dating app last year. I was on it for 6 months. I had bare fun, by the way. I had bare fun. You said, hi, what's my name? My name is Abimbola Craig. That's my name. I had bare fun. So this is what it is, right? I've been talking about how I've recently become very open-minded and all that good stuff. And so one thing I always wanted to say when people ask me why am I being single, and I used to be defensive before, was that I don't know why I'm single right now, because I've tried everything. And so I always thought, dating app would be one of those things to try. And a lot of my friends were very discouraging. They're like, why would you do that? Oh my God, they will now know that oh my God. And I'm like, but people already use my pictures for a bunch of things that I don't even know about. So what is wrong if for once I'm using my picture for my own benefits? There's nothing wrong with it, because nowadays it's very hard to even find people. Let's be real. Let's be real. You know, when we're growing up, at least if you were Nigerian, you know, they'll tell you go out, you meet men, they'll tell you to go to weddings. Please, guys, there's a super chat feature where you can bless me with money. So please feel free to bless me. Thank you, guys. You know, where they'll say if you go out to weddings, you meet guys. Now there's none of that anymore. So you're either telling your friends you're single to see if they can hook you up with people or set you up with people, or you do dating apps. I think everybody in the world is doing dating apps. And I think a lot of people need to understand that if you've ever met your boyfriend on Twitter, on Instagram, technically that's a dating app. So it doesn't have to be called Bumble or Tinder for you to consider it a dating app, FYI. So I think everybody has dated via dating app. They just choose to only use that connotation when it's a self-proclaimed dating app. And I think there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it. I think everybody should try it. I think it's a good way to put yourself out there. I think it's very important while in your singlehood and while trying to figure out who you are to shake things up a bit and go out of your comfort zone. Because, I mean, they say sometimes when God really wants to bless you and surprise you, he makes you uncomfortable. So sometimes make yourself uncomfortable. You can't keep doing the same thing and expecting change. So if you've always been out there and you've just been, I'm single, I'm single, I'm single, I'm single, I'm single, what have you done to switch things up a bit? Try a dating app. I think it's interesting. You meet all sorts of people. And the funny part was half of the people that I had conversations with were not in Nigeria. It was so exhilarating because I was like, oh God, I don't want to talk to anybody in Nigeria. I'm so over Nigerian men living in Nigeria. So it was really refreshing to talk to people outside of the country. The issue, one of those things that you get is inconsistency. But hey, such is life. But in terms of just what it was for, and my intention was just to meet people. And I did that. So yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Would you consider it again a dating app? I think I would. I'm just bored right now. And so I'm like, if there's a new one where I know that the pool of people are going to be different, then please sign me up. So I'm not against dating app. I think there's nothing wrong with it. I love the fact that it was very challenging. I love the fact that I had to initiate conversation. I hate that word, sapiosexual. But I like to pick people's brains. So I'm the kind of person that I would start and instigate a conversation. I'll be like, knock, knock, who's there? Based on how you respond, I'll know. Because I can't be talking to someone that doesn't have a sense of humor. You gotta be funny. Or at least laugh at my shit. You just gotta be funny. So yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with the way of putting try it. Oh my, who just, gosh, what is this? ST, oh my God, 20 pounds, $20. Thank you so much, ST. I really appreciate you. Guys, be like ST. Bless me with some money. Thank you, ST. Thank you so much. Okay, so somebody said being equally yoked religion-wise is important. I'm over 35, a born-again Christian, celibate lawyer, working in Human Rights Commission, and living in a predominantly Muslim country. Woo, Matilda. Girl, you just give us all your credentials. Shout out to you. Shout out to you, girl. Brandon said, are you Nigerian? Yes, I am. Kai and Abimbola, do photo of that una lips. He's beautiful, Jerry. Una get. I'm done with you. Oyeko, hi, Lolade. Instagram is a dating app. Yes, it is. A lot of people don't seem to realize that that's what it is. But it is. I'm not saying that's what it mainly and predominantly is known for, but it is technically a dating app because people meet people via it. I know a bunch of people. There's one particular girl I know that the last 3 boyfriends that she's had, she met them on Twitter. God, you people, stop this embarrassment. Adebanke, oh my gosh. Adebanke, thank you so, $20. Who am I? Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Her last 3 boyfriends, she's met them on Twitter. Yeah, be judging everybody that is on Bumble. This girl, she met her boyfriend on Tinder. Hello, the streets of Tinder and the streets of Twitter, they are the same thing, girl. Come on, they're the same thing. So yeah, Instagram to me is a dating app. Yeah, nowadays the way we date has changed. I mean, a lot takes place on social media. So why not also the area of dating? Exactly. I'm not against it. I'm just telling people, which dating app do you recommend? So the one that I was on, that I actually met sane, decent people, was Bumble. Now, the way it works is very different. And lady who is into trying things things, you might not want to be on it. So with Bumble, I keep telling people, first of all, if you're on a dating app, don't be on a dating app without paying for premium. I'm not trying to say you have to have a lot of money. I'm just trying to say the perks of what that does is it just helps you cut down a lot of BS. You understand what I mean? So I was on Bumble for 6 months and I paid for premium, which meant that before I swiped on anybody, I could see the people that already swiped on me because my attention span is not the greatest when it comes to things like that. So I had to be very intentional. I had to be very intentional. It was COVID. My mom was in America. My siblings live in America. I was by myself in Nigeria. I live alone. I was bored. I was tired. I was just like, listen, I need to do just. Adibanke, stop this thing you are doing. You can't keep showering me with money. I am so embarrassed. Thank you so much, Adibanke. You're too kind. Thank you so much. And so I just thought about it and I was like, listen, I can't be killing myself right now. Do you understand what I mean? And so I joined the dating app. What Bumble does, like I said before, is so I paid for premium and I was able to see the people that already swiped on me. So I was deciding who I wanted to swipe. And with Bumble, it's quite detailed. So you can, people link their Instagram and all that good stuff. When you see their names, you can also search them. You can check their LinkedIn and all that good stuff. But what it does is, as a woman, even though the man has already swiped on you, once you swipe on him, he won't know until you initiate conversation. And that's where a lot of women check out. And I don't know why we are shy from doing things like that. And I think it's society and how we're brought up. I think we've been told that you can't approach a man because it's very unbecoming and he will disrespect you and he will not see your worth and your value. I think that's BS. I think a woman of substance will always be a woman of substance, whether she said the hi first or she said hello after. And that's on per. That's on per. So, but what Bumble does is it makes you initiate conversation. So, like I said, I had paid for premium and I could see the people that had swiped on me. I had to swipe on them, but after I swiped on them, I had to say hi. So the point is you need to initiate conversation. What I realized from the people that I've spoken to and why they kept on speaking to me was my approach to the line and start. My approach to the conversation starter was always very different. So because of that, a lot of girls will still be lazy. So because you're the one that's to initiate conversation, just people say hi, and they don't respond, they will not be angry. Damilola Defusika is my Adebanke. Can you imagine someone that you grew up with coming here to embarrass you with money? Oh, damn me, I love you. Thank you, boo. And so what it does is you now have to initiate the conversation, but a lot of us will still be lazy. So because they said that, you'll not be saying hi. How many men have sent you DM saying hi as women and you've hated it and you didn't respond? Why you not do the same and you not expect someone to be ginger to respond to you? So me, I always found it funny. I just used to joke. Today it'll be knock knock. Based on how the person responds, who is there, I'll give you different knock knock joke. Go on Google. Google all the knock knock jokes ever. Sometimes I'll be like, I'll start conversations with hey stranger. They were like, where is this one coming from? You know, just listen, there's nothing to be embarrassed about. It's just chatting. It's chatting. So I think a lot of us take things too tight, you know, just relax. So I started conversation on different levels. Hey stranger, or their conversation starters where they give you all these suggested questions. Sometimes some of those things can be very redundant. And I think I would say if you can avoid it, avoid it. If you can use it to stimulate conversation starters, great. But if you don't need it, avoid it. So you just start with different conversations. What was the last thing you ate? Describe yourself with 3 words. Give me two truths and a lie. You know what I mean? Just ways to just listen. That's 6 months in which I was on Bumble. I had bare fun. Bare fun that a lot of people eventually, and I was happy with the fact that, like I said, a lot of people didn't even know who I was until when we like maybe decided to say let's be serious about conversation, and they were like, oh, what's your last name? Because I never used to put my last name on, and I didn't used to put any on my social media account because I'm tired of this. You are intimidating men. By the time they see you have 100 and something thousand followers on Instagram, wow, you're a celeb. I had a few of those. There were those that the minute they found out who I was, oh my God, my sister is a fan. Next thing is your sister trying to talk to me every day. I ain't about that life. But like I said, it was very interesting. So I would say join a dating app. Join a dating app. It's interesting. Do it. Yeah, nowadays the way we date are saying, okay, I read that. So like I said, Bumble, yes. AWO, I'm 21 and dating a chick of 24. Look at Michael though. She graduated last year, but I feel I'm not secure. You feel like you're not secure? Secure about what, Michael? I would rather look for Abimbola Craig's number than go to dating app. I have all you need in a man. Matthew, look at you out there making a black girl blush. Matthew is looking for my number. Let's talk about genotype. I watched a movie on Netflix. I forgot the name, but it was interesting. You people have decided to hold my whole evening. I have work to do. I'm producing a whole film. Okay, what do you want to talk about genotype? Hi, Abimbola. Hi, Ajoke. Are you considering egg freezing? So I'm not considering it right now. Have I thought about it? Yes, I have. I've had conversations about it with friends. It's not a cheap it's not a cheap route to take. Egg freezing and the cost is the same cost it is to do IVF. It's not cheap, but I'm not considering it right now. First of all, for a few reasons. I this is first one is based on faith. I believe that I have ample time. I know and I believe and I know the promises God has for me. And so I know they'll be fulfilled. Now that being said, faith wise, I'm not in a rush. I'm going to be 35. I'm not yet close to 50. So I know I will still be able to carry my children. Now, egg freezing is not because you won't be able to, it's just in case anything ever happens, you have something to fall back on. Now, the second reason will be financially. If I lived in America and I had a proper health insurance plan and all the jobs I'd been working on and where I was working at right now was taking care of that, listen, I will freeze my eggs in a heartbeat. But financially, the money that I have is not top priority for egg freezing. So based off of that, I just wouldn't right now. And that's really just the two main reasons why. I know that I don't need to because I know that in due time and in due season, I will marry. I will have children by the grace of Almighty God. So there's no need to rock the boat or be hasty when I know the promises He has for me. But also, secondly, like I said, financially, it's no joke. It's a lot of money. I said it's about the same price that it costs to do IVF. I said it. I know because I have friends who've done both. So yeah, it's not cheap. And so if you're someone who has money and you're still planning on doing other things, and this is not of the utmost importance for you right now, then I wouldn't advise you to. But if you're in a place where you can afford to and it takes nothing off your financial stability, then please feel free to. Definitely. Definitely. Hi, Simisola. Thanks for the $5. I'm not talking about modern. That was just the topic that was written there, but we've spoken about 50 different things. In case you're not looking at the live, I've been on this live for 132 minutes. So, sweetie, anything you want to talk about, bring it on. We're talking about 50 different things. We've spoken about different things. That was just the starter conversation. What age do you think is appropriate to start dating? I just want to know your opinion. What age? I don't think what age is appropriate anymore is something that people should be sitting down and talking about, sadly, because of social media right now. You have 10-year-old girls already dating. You understand what I mean? So I would say actively, and if I'm being honest with you, I wouldn't advise anyone to be in a relationship per se till they're 16. But I know that there are girls who are 13 that have boyfriends. So I would say just be knowledgeable. Being naive to things is not an excuse anymore. Know what it is. Know that once you start your period as a young lady, if you start to do certain things with men, you will be pregnant. I'm not saying run away from men. I'm trying to say understand what it is. You should know the B's and all that conversation is very important. You need to equip yourself to know that for every action that you take, these are the consequences. But I would say in terms of dating, I would say there's no rush. I would say once you're 16, it's understandable to start saying that you have a boyfriend. Yeah, I would say that. I would say don't actively have sex until you're ready. That's what I would tell you. And for me, when you're ready, I would say maybe over 18. That's my personal opinion. Period. But I would say dating for what it is, which is getting to know people, getting to know men, understanding what men, how they are, how women interact with men, how to flirt. I would say don't be naive because nobody wants to tell you that you shouldn't start dating till you're in your 20s. A lot of people did that and it didn't do them any benefits. You can't shield people from what is already out there. So yeah, that's my thoughts and my opinion on that. Grace said I have to leave because I can't add stress to my peaceful mind. God bless you. I think she just said if you're going to use Tinder, Bumble, or the other ones, you should try to upgrade upgrade to premium package. Yeah, that's what I said. Please, I want to know if it's okay dating someone 3 years younger than you. Olamide Elizabeth, I've spoken about this before. Olamide Elizabeth, I've spoken about this before. I said I think it's individual choices, you know. I said if you had asked me before if I would date a younger guy, I'd have said, hell no. Somebody said, our boss said they said she'd rather chew jeans than date a younger man. And what I've said is I'm open to it. You know, when you open your mind, the possibilities are endless. So that's what I'll say. I'm already late, so late, but it's good to know that I can wish. Oh, thank you, Tony. Welcome. My coworkers and I were talking about it recently. Our insurance doesn't cover it. You see, would you still take a chance with someone that's AS, knowing you are AA for love? So this is what it is. I think they say the Bible says my people suffer from a lack of knowledge, right? And genotype is very important. It's a very needed conversation, and a lot of people shy from it. And I do understand why, but it's one of those things where you need to nip it in the bud real quick. Real quick. So for example, I'm AA, and I don't mind dating someone who's AS because I know that the possibilities of us having any child that is sickle cell is 0 to none. So based off of that, why not? If not, if you were AS and the person was AS, I would say you already know the answer to that. But if you are AS and the person is AA, I don't think there's anything wrong with it, or vice versa. Matthew said that people like I'm in America. Come and let's start live together. Matthew! Matthew really grinding out here. He said he in America. America's my second home. Egg freeze isn't covered in America nor in Europe. Oh, there's your answer. It's expensive. I meant to say insurance in America doesn't cover egg freezing. Oh no, I understand that now. Don Sebimbo sounds like my mommy giving me talk. I'm done with you. Damn. Thoughts on bad girls getting good guys. So I'd spoken about this before, right? Banke. And what I had said was this. I had said that, you know, growing up, right? We were told, and Dami knows me at my inner core because this is family, so she knows where I'm coming from in this. And I was talking about how we need to stop this narrative of thinking that because you have kept yourself as a good girl, and I meant that in every sense. So you're a virgin, you've been good, you've done all that, you automatically believe that the world should reward you with a good man. That doesn't happen. And vice versa. So because you think that a girl is a bad girl, she should not be rewarded with a good man. That's not life. God has a huge sense of humor, meaning that a lot of us use good and bad based on just perspective, right? Which is just what we see on the outside, but we don't know the heart of man. The Bible does say that the heart of man is wicked, but we also know that the heart of man can also be good because we like to think that we're all good people. So that being said, I don't think we can judge who a good girl is and who a bad girl is just based off of just what we look at. Although man has told us that perspective and, you know, how somebody presents themselves is the first thing you take and all that good stuff. But I don't think it's something that we can explain, you know? I don't think there's an answer to that. I don't think there's an answer to that. I remember when my grandmother would tell me, it's good to keep yourself, oh, but it's also important to know, you know? Because you see all these good girls, where did they go outside? My grandmother is a Shekiri, by the way. My mom's mom is who I'm talking about. They go outside there, they just, you know, they sleep with man up and down. Yeah, they go still get good man. Good man. So, why do bad girls always get good guys? We still don't know the answer till today. But what I've learned to deduce from all these conversations and narratives is that they can't be all bad. You understand what I mean? So maybe bad to our standards because they wear short skirts, because they don't have sex before us, and we haven't had sex before. But does that make them a bad person? Just the same way that does it mean that because you're a virgin and you've been a good girl, does that really mean that you're a good person? And does that mean that you deserve to be given a good man? Why do you think you're entitled to that? Because you've done everything right by the Bible. So it's one of those things. I think it's just life, and it's one of those things we'll never understand. So yeah, that's my talk on that. Now be $50 or no be $5 or wait. I'm so sorry. What? Simisola, you gave me $50. I'm embarrassed. No, I saw $4.99. Simisola, thank you so much. Gracious, goodness gracious is so annoying. But I'm so sorry, Simisola. Thank you so what? $50. Thank you so much, Simisola. I'm truly, truly grateful. I'm embarrassed. I'm so sorry. I saw 4.99. I was like, "Ah, thank you so much." I mean, someone gave me $2. So either I'm grateful, but to think that was thank you so much, Simisola. Thank you. I've already left, so it's late, but it's good that I know now. I wish I knew before. Ah, Tony, I'm so sorry. My co-workers and I were talking about I think I've done this already. Goodness gracious, is so annoying. On that note, know your cycle. Though basal temperature is key. Okay. Abba said it's still going to choose jeans. She should get away. It's weird, but I'm single. I'm 30, but I don't feel bad about being single. I think companionship interests me. Sometimes I ask myself if I'm okay. And that's okay too, Trudy. That's okay. I think we need to stop using age and single as something, you know? There are people that are in their 50s and they're single and they're thriving and they're happy. I think we just need to be okay with the fact that you can be whatever age it is that you are. And if you want to be single, you can be single. And if you want to be married, then be married. And if you want to be in a relationship, be in a relationship. I think age has nothing to do with it. As long as you're able to know right from wrong and you have a level of emotional intelligence and know what you want, God has our back regardless. However, do you sometimes think that your successes and popularity can push some men away from pursuing you? So amazing. That's very interesting to say. And this is what my answer is when people ask me that. That's a they problem, not a me problem. And the reason why is this. I didn't choose. I'm about to sound like J. Cole or one of them rappers. I didn't choose this life. This life chose me. I'm joking. I'm joking. Calm down. But the point I'm trying to make is this path that I'm on is God ordained, right? It's God ordained. I had no doing in it, if you know my story. But even if I did choose this path, I don't think what I do should affect who I am. And if you're someone that has known me, then you know that it doesn't. People that I grew up with will tell you I'm still the same person. If anything else, I've become more introverted. And that's just simply because I just decided I don't need to be around people that I just don't want to be around. Life is too short. But I also know, realistically speaking, that there are certain men that do see the numbers on Instagram and do see the popularity and are deterred from it. And I don't know why, because I think that's not fair. I think until you know someone, you can't really judge someone, and you shouldn't, because sometimes you never know what you're blocking off. Do you understand what I mean? So I've heard that it has deterred some men, but I've also said, and I believe and I know, that the man for me, he's going to look at those numbers and he's not going to be phased. He's not bothered. He's not even checking the numbers. You understand what I mean? He's looking at the substance and saying, this guy's a speck. She's a speck, a half, and then some. So yeah, I mean, I've heard it and people have told me, but it's not my fault. It's not a me problem, it's them, because I'm not stopping anybody from approaching me regardless of. So yeah. What's the next question? As for me, I'm bad. Oh, goodness gracious, I'm done. Why do single ladies like so-called bad boys but want a good man? What's all these questions people are asking me? Please, use your church mind. I don't know. Me, I don't want a bad boy. But I think generally speaking, people are always gravitating towards people that they think that they can help. And I think that's both men and women. Women want to be around men that they know that they have no business being around, but they think that they can change. Men want to be around women that they think they can save. You know, it's just the way life is. But I don't think that that's because we want bad boys. I mean, I don't want bad boy. I want a good boy. I want a good man. So yeah, because life is not fair. It's not fair. Hi, follow Tolu. Why do you what God, you guys, all these questions. What do you think about dating someone who is not of the same educational level and preferred career as yourself? I'm asking because I know a few women who have, and the man ran them down, abused and used them before leaving them. Um, I th- I would say this, and I would say this with all humility. You know, I think it's important that as human beings, and not even just whether you're a man or a woman, as human beings, I think it's important that you place value on yourself and you know your worth. You know, that being said, like I said before, the world would always rather use the word picky for people and try to make that word such a negative word, but it's not. It's important to know who you are, and it's important to know what you want. And knowing who you are usually helps to know what you want. I wouldn't say judge people based on the fact that, they didn't finish school. I have a friend who didn't go to university, and she's an amazingly sound, intellectually smart person. So I wouldn't say do that, but I would say if it's of something that is of importance to you, then you should take it and make it important. If dating someone who has a sound education is important to you because you have the same sound education, then look for someone who is. And if you end up falling for someone who isn't, then make sure that at the core of it all, the person is a genuinely good person. I think that most times as men and women, we choose not to focus on our instincts. For example, let's use this blue therapy. I know people say it's scripted, and I know it's scripted, but the reality is it's also real life experiences, right? And so at the core of it all, you see this Deborah girl and the Jamal situation. And someone would say, they have no business being together. She's looking for someone to be her father and just be giving her money and spoiling her. And he's trying to look for someone that he wants to grow with. And evidently, you can see that they're set for doom. But yet, they're choosing to be with each other. So I would say, be smart, be smart. Be smart. As much as it's good to be reckless with love and just fall into serious abandonment of love, you need to be smart. That's what I'll say. Your girl has to go. Bye, gift. Thank you. Amen. God has ordained your part, so He will send a man who is just for you. Amen. I'm so sorry that this happened to your friend Lisa. Yeah, it's about good character, the honesty, the integrity, and fruit. Clearly, those guys don't have. I'm telling you, that's what I'm saying. It's not about education. Using and manipulating people is not alright. No, it's not. I'm not on Instagram, but just heard a male podcast on YouTube talk about the same thing. Followers, subscribers, etc. That depending on the numbers, they might not DM the girl. It is still. Listen, I don't get it too. I don't get it, but I know that it's a thing. But I also know that it's the opposite. Let me give you an example, and I can say this because I know. So you see someone like Sharon, right? Sharon, that's my baby girl. Sharon has like 600 and something thousand followers on Instagram. But yet, guys are always sliding in her DM every day, every second, every hour. I don't have up to 200,000 followers. Yet nobody's sliding into my DM. Why are they not running away? It's a lie. It's a lie. A man who wants you, regardless of how many Instagram followers you have or lack thereof, will initiate and be intentional about trying to get to know you and starting a conversation with you. That's the honest truth. Let's not dilly-dally around. Not everybody's for everybody, but there will always be those that they will move towards. And there are those that they will not move towards. It doesn't mean you lack anything. It just means they're not for you. So yeah, that's the answer to that. It's bullshit. Saying Instagram followers is what's scaring them away. Lie. All the girls that are always saying putting their bomb on Instagram, why is it that half of their followers are men? Yet they're siding them inside every day, sending them message. Why are they not running away from their Instagram page? Rubbish. It's nonsense, Jerry. They're lying. Bye, Favor. Good luck in your exam, girl. Women need to stop thinking they can change it. No, we can't change anybody. Not even only women, people. People need to stop thinking that they can change people. Listen, you can't change anybody. You're not God. A person can only change if they're willing to change. And that's important. I think if a lot of us got into relationships with people and saw them and accepted them for who they are, things will be easy. A lot of people get into relationships with people, they see the shortcomings, they see the flaws, they think, and that's because nobody's perfect, first of all, so it's important for us to understand that. But when you get into a relationship with someone thinking you can change the person, then you're setting yourself up for doom. You're setting yourself up for doom. You can't change anyone. A person can only change if they want to. You can influence the person's lifestyle, you can influence the person's decisions, but you can't make them change. You can't. You can't. I was going to say I don't think, but it's a lie. I know you can't. So yeah, as a man is, even the Bible says as a man thinketh, so he is. As you see a man or a woman, the way they are, take them for the way they are. That's who they are. That's who they are. That's who they are. So yeah, I won't be surprised, DM Sharon. That was an example, guys. I need to go now. Oh, bye, David. Oh, bye, David. Remember, what do you think? Ah, Dawn is still here. What do you think about therapy and how it's viewed? Listen, I keep telling people, I don't care how it was before. This 2021. 2021, if you need therapy, take therapy. A lot of people need help. And when I say need help, you don't, like I've said, you don't need to have been or gone through, trauma to say you need help. Sometimes a lot of people just need people to help them process their thoughts. Sometimes a lot of people just need people to help them put things into perspective. And there's nothing wrong with that. Don't be ashamed. If you're struggling mentally and you need help emotionally and there's somebody available, take it. And I'm not talking about your pastor, I'm talking about a therapist, by the way. It's good to have both. Very healthy. So do it. Do it for yourself. They are not scared of the numbers being, but they are scared of the content you have because you make them see themselves and they don't measure up. Oh, gifts. I know. I'm not talking about generally all the men, but I'm saying that the ones that have approached me, is always a struggle. I know. And that's why I try to work on my tone. I try to work on my... I'm not one that's just going out there telling people who they are. Hello. Like I said, I'm flawed. So yeah, I like I said before, it's important to know yourself at the core of it all. It's important to know your strengths. And when you know your strengths, it's also important to know your weaknesses. And know that, God did create someone for everyone. And so I'm patient enough to know that he will find me. After all, the Bible does say, he who finds a wife finds a good thing and attains favor from the Lord. I'm a good thing. So we're going to find each other. You see what I said? We are going to find. At least I'm going to sit there in my father's house and he's just going to come and knock on my door. I thought you were giving out nice girl. Giving out nice girl. What do you mean? What does that mean? The man who does will actually love the fact that you have the numbers. Also, I think the new attraction for men is success, no matter how small. So that's what they say. You got to be careful with this thing that you just said. It's very dicey. It's very, very dicey. So let me give you an example. I was in one of this my clubhouse rooms, right? And the guy was talking. We're talking about successful women and high valued men because of this Kevin Samuel uncle, such a nitwit. But I digress. And a man was talking about how he's one of those men that he's attracted to women who are very strong and who are very independent and all that beautiful stuff. But he recently found out that he had a problem with that as well. And he was honest enough to say it. And he was like, as much as he liked this particular girl and what attracted him to her was all these beautiful qualities, he noticed that she never liked to take anything from him. And for him, that was a problem. He always wanted his woman and he wants his woman to need him. And he felt like she didn't need him. And that was a problem. So the reason why I'm saying that is because, when you say this, men are attracted to, the new thing now is that men are attracted to women who are successful no matter how small. It's a dicey thing because as much as they say they are, some of them can't handle what success is. Please, let's also understand that success is also beyond financial value. You understand what I mean? Success can be popularity. Success can be numbers. Success can be money. But a lot of men say that they can and they want it, but when they are in it, a lot of them don't know how to handle it. And that's where that emotional intelligence I'm talking about comes into play. And it has nothing to do with age. So it's a slippery slope, but it's important to just, notice it. Naril, hello, pretty. How you doing? I'm doing okay. Do you go to church? Is that to find and meet men at church? I go to church, but since pandemic happened, I go to church online. But I think anybody who goes to church with the intention to meet a man has a problem. And vice versa. The Bible says, come who are labored and heavy laden and come and put it to God. It says, come to God with your problem. It didn't say, come to God with your problem and look for someone to solve the solution. So I don't know why anybody will be going to church with the intention to meet a future partner. That's all wrong. That's just wrong. But I know people that do it actively. They are going out there looking for Christian brother and sister. Meanwhile, I know someone that did it. And the Christian brother, he showed her. So my dear, don't think that because an animal wear clothes, it's not still an animal. You understand me? Okay. That's all I'm going to say about this thing. Laugh out loud. If a man did walk to your door and said, I'm the one, what are you going to do? I'm going to tell him, Khadija, let us sit down and let God tell us together. Let God also tell me that he's the one. I can't only tell him that he's the one. I need to know myself. I need to see it, feel it, hear it. You put say some things that make me laugh. What kind of response do you want to give you? I know in Nigeria they say that you should go to weddings so you can meet a potential partner. That was before. Now, when you go to weddings, all you're meeting is a potential, excuse my French, F boy, and vice versa. People go to these places now intentionally to prey on single people, both men and women. So it's important that you be smart. It's important that sometimes you just focus on living your life and living your life in a good way. And that's why I keep telling people, while you're single, yes, be intentional about wanting to date, but there's a thin line with being intentional and being desperate. It's thin, but it exists. You understand what I mean? You can't always, every time you step out of your house, just believe that when I'm going out to dinner and I've worn this makeup, I must meet somebody. If I don't meet somebody, there's a problem. No, you're going out because you want to have fun. If you are able to attract good person and someone comes along, great. If not, you move on. But please don't ever step out of your house with the mindset that is to meet somebody. You say you're going to wedding, I'm giving them this dress, backless, side cut, because I want to meet man. You go carry last. There are people that are going to the same events to prey on people because society has put all these stupid dead narratives in our head. You meet a good person in church, you meet a good person in wedding. It's all storyland. Person don't meet person before when saw them they struggle on top of traffic in Lagos. They jam each other car safe. They exchange insurance number before you know it. Tan tan tana, tan tan tana. I said this before. God has a sense of humor. Sometimes don't box yourself into boxes. Don't do it. Don't do it. You just never know. What are they? Hey God, okay. Guys, I have 4 more minutes. 156 minutes. I said when it was 160 minutes, I'm clearing out. You people are killing me here. What are things that women have to get together within ourselves first before we go out and ask God for a husband? I don't know. I'm as a fool. I think all that is individual. That is individual. I don't think there's any rule to saying what you should get together before you find a husband. There are some people that the minute they finish secondary school, God bless them with a good man, and 10 years along the line, they've been able to enter not secondary school, sorry, university. 10 years along the line, they've been able to finish and do a PhD while married to the same man and had plenty of children. You know what I mean? So I don't think there's a rule as to what you need to do first to be able to start now praying to God for your husband. I don't believe in any of that. I think you just need to work on yourself, build on yourself, and start to pray that the things that you want is in alignment with God's will for you. And eventually things will start to look up. That's what I think. And sometimes it's hard. Sometimes you're wondering to yourself, God, there's a video that I'm releasing that is called My Journey to 35. And for me, it was a very aha moment because like I said in that video, and I'm not going to share too much here, but I've never been that girl that would tell you that I'm going to get married before I'm 30 and all that good stuff. I'm not a planner when it comes to things like that. I'm a short-term planner. I'm not one that can tell you what I want in the next 20 years. I can tell you what I hope to achieve. And then there's a difference, but it's not like if I don't get it, I'm going to die. I'm short-term. I'm 2 years from now. I'm 3 years from now. I'm not 10 years from now kind of person. No. I tell you where I want to be, but I can tell you in the next 2 years where I'm gonna be. So that's me for you. And so when it came to relationships and marriage, I never was one to tell you I want to be married by 28. However, I did hope that by the time I was 30, I would be married. And when I turned 30 and I wasn't sad, but I did hope. It's one of those where you just keep hoping, you keep pushing the bar. By the time I'm turning 35, I'll be married. I'm about to turn 35 in November, and I'm not married yet, but I'm not saddened by it. Because I sit down and I look at things in hindsight, and I'm not sure how the things I've been able to accomplish I would have been able to accomplish if I was married. Neither am I saying that if I was, I wouldn't have been able to accomplish it. I don't know if what I'm saying makes sense, but I'm just trying to say that sometimes the desires that you have are not desires God has for you, and sometimes we need to be okay with that. We need to be okay with that. So yeah. So not in church. I'm with you on this, Abimbola. I'm done with you people. Abimbola is an example of black is beautiful. Listen, Matthew, you need to stop making me blush. Not in the traffic fight. Y'all gotta understand what I mean by this traffic and fighting. Guys, I need to go and get my charger real quick, but I'm about to sign off. So what if the lady wants to help the guy, but the guy doesn't want to help when they help? Because of society we find ourselves, then you leave him alone. We just said you can't change people. It's just the same way. You can take a horse to the stream, but you can't force it to drink. You need to understand that you can't force people to want things they're not ready for. Life is all about seasons. So if you're with a man or a woman and vice versa, and at the point in which you are in your life, they're not on the same page with you, then it's important that you check yourself out. You take yourself out from that equation for your mental state of mind. You take yourself out of that equation. You can't force someone to be in a season they're not ready for. You can't. You can't. You find out that you're walking yourself backwards. You're doing yourself more of a disservice than a service. Because it means that you automatically start to digress. I mean, is it regress? What's the word? You start to move backwards. And listen, you don't want to be there. You understand what I mean? I don't think you want to be. I don't think that's for you. You get me? So yeah. Yeah. Kechi said, "Dag me, oh." Now this mindset I take go wedding yesterday. Kechi, look at your life in the pata. Look at your life in the mud. Look at your life in the mud. Look at me laughing. You said that this mindset to take go wedding, they do for man for wedding. Look yourself. Come on. Oh, you're very welcome, gift. You have to be content with. Okay, guys, I'm going to tilt my camera upwards a bit. I'm wearing bomb shorts, and it's nobody's business. You know what I mean? So give me a second. I'm just gonna get my charger. I can hear you guys, oh. I'm coming. Give me a second. Give me a second. Give me a second. So that my battery will not die. Give me a second. Give me a second. Give me a second. Give me a second. So my battery will not die. Give me a second. Give me a second. Give me a second. Give me a second. Okay. I'm here. All right. I know somebody was saying, but what's that? All that information, but yeah, I'm not going to just stand up like that. So yeah, okay, let's go back quickly. I need to go, guys, but let's go back real quick. You have to be content with being single, or else you'll be desperate and just deal with anything. Very important. Yes, Bimbo, this hair is giving me life. Hair on flake. Thank you very much. I did my makeup myself. This hair is not sponsored, but it's from Hair Given. Thanks for this live, auntie. Oh, bless you, gracious goodness. Girl, you're hilarious. Listen, what can I do? This live. I think ladies should not be selective with choosing a husband. I disagree with you. If you as a man, and I don't like, you see, me and you, we fight. I'm about to go off, but you make me fight. What do you mean ladies should be selective? So what, you just settle? Can I ask you a question? As a man, when you see women displayed in front of you, and let me give you options. What's your name? Because I need you to answer me. Evelyn Knight, right? You said, I think ladies should not be selective with choosing a husband. Okay, good. Now, you've said that and I hear you. But this is what I'm going to say. I think everybody should be realistic enough, but I think we need to stop this pick me. And as women, and we need to understand that the way a man picks us is the same way you pick a man. You understand me? You understand me? It's important. So that you don't end up with just anybody. So the way a man chooses you is the same way you are allowed to choose. Don't ever for once ever think that you are the chosen and he's not the chosen too. Because if he did not say yes, hello, he will marry himself and vice versa. You understand me? I don't like this mindset of saying that ladies should not be selective. So I give you an example, Ebony Ninth. If you have an array of women that are lined up, let me just give you like 5. There's a slim woman, there's a thick woman, there's a curvy woman, there's a fat woman, there's a woman that's suffering from anorexia. Now, all of them have different shapes, sizes, and colors. There's Asian, there's Latino, there's black, there's white, there's light-skinned, there's... Won't you go and decide which one that you want? Would you not say to yourself, will you not sit down and say to yourself, man, Evelyn Knight, you will sit down and you say, okay, out of this 5, let me narrow things down. She's pretty, she's okay. I don't really like women with big breasts, so that's a no. She's okay. I don't really like her skin color, but it's all right. Maybe we'll have Caucasian children, but she has no nyash. I'm not really interested. She's okay. You pick, you select. So if you have the rights and the power to, why doesn't she? Why? The audacity, the effrontery. Don't confuse yourself. It's a selection. That's life. The question is, what are your selections and what are you using to select? Are they realistic? Are they what you want? Are they beneficial to you? You have to make that choice. But you can't sit down on your chest and on your horse and say you think women should not be selective when they are picking husband. Have you seen the pool of husbands that are out there? The audacity. Stop it. I know they say that kind of thing. I don't like to hear that kind of thing. I beg, please. May everybody choose whoever they want. The same way a man can pick, the same way a woman can pick. Women, don't ever sit down there and be waiting to be picked. You can pick. You can pick. I don't like that you say women should be selective. So you just settle for anything. For what? For what? The same way that we know that, and I know actively that there are good men out there, is the same way that there are very trashy men out there. So while you're being selective, make sure it's realistic, and you have to have a spirit of discernment. It's very important. You need to know who you are. You need to know what values you want, what values you bring, and what you want from a partner, and the kind of home you want to build with this partner. But don't ever say that ladies should not be selective. There are men that are out here looking for women to just freeload on. There are men that are out here not working on themselves. No level of emotional intelligence, no money in the bank account, no educational status, no prospects, no goals, no aims, no aspiration. And you tell me that someone should not be selective? Don't say that. Vice versa, the same way that there are women too that are looking for men to just take care of them. And there's nothing wrong with that, because there are men that want to. And there are also women that are okay settling and taking care of men. But don't ever say you think women should not be selective. Would you tell that to your daughter or your sister? Come on, don't do that. Everybody should be selective. Just be realistic. Please give this video a thumbs up if you like it. Thank you guys so much for using super chat features. Those of you that have blessed me, 147 pounds. You people are so sweet. God bless you. I'm so grateful. It's been 166 minutes of worth amazing ass conversation. Thank you guys so much. This has been so much fun. I said extend that time, and I'm going to extend it by a bit. Once it's 170 minutes, I'm leaving. What if you like this guy and he's not reciprocating 100%? How do you move on? So this is what it is, Miriam, and I'll tell you this. Like is very painful. I keep telling people that I think like is even more painful than love. But nobody deserves to be with someone who doesn't give them as good as they give. You know, I think a lot of us sell ourselves short. And that's because we just think that we don't deserve it all. You can have it all, and you do deserve it all. You can have it all, and you do deserve it all. So don't settle. You know, don't be with someone who can give you 100%. But I'll say this first. A lot of people are just not aware. You'll be shocked how many men and women are very naive when it comes to things like this. So if you're in a relationship with someone and you're giving 100 and you feel like the person is not meeting up to par, have a conversation. And after you have a conversation, if nothing changes, if you're patient enough and you have that grace, because not a lot of people got that grace, not a lot of people got it, you know, give it another chance and have that conversation again. And if nothing changes, then you know that nothing is going to change, because nothing changes if nothing changes. So it's hard, but you'll be okay. You will love again, you will move on. Don't be like, listen, once you realize that this person is never going to give you what you want and that you deserve better, nobody's going to tell you when you will stop. As much as it will be hard, when you just realize that aha moment, you just move on. It will shock you. It will shock you. Many of the selective ladies end up with fake people in an unhappy marriage. I disagree. I think people that end up with fake people and in an unhappy marriage are not because they're selective. It's because they end up being desperate, that they choose to throw away all the values that they have and all the values and all the things that they knew they should be looking out for and just settle. So I disagree with you. Remember, God is telling me, is Abimbola. Matthew, you are still here. I'm tired of you. All genders have preferences, and there's nothing wrong with that, my love. And remember, people are good actors today with originality. Big boobs can be artificial. Makeup can also be. Same thing with men. I know men that have gone through gastric bypass. I know men that wear waist tummy. Stop that. Everybody's an actor. I've already said this before. You can't really know anybody. There are people that have been married for 25 years. They'll tell you that they still don't know their husband, because people change, people grow, people evolve. That I say today I never want to have children doesn't mean that 2 years down the line I will want to have kids. I can change my mind. People are allowed to, and that's life. So while you're dating people and while you're married to people, leave room for the fact that they will change and they will evolve just the same way you would. But I think it's unrealistic to say that a lot of people are good actors. Everybody's an actor. Now, wow, so we should just take whatever comes. Don't mind him, Jerry. You sound so pessimistic. Leave him alone. It all starts with physical attraction and then intellectual attraction. I won't just settle for anything. You deserve more. Certain things can be compromised, but not everything. I totally agree with you. I agree with being selective. But listen, you better pick. Don't let anybody tell you that. You know how many people have had tell me this same conversation story. Nobody person where they wear should know where they pinch them. Don't mind them, Linkite, Jare. Don't mind him. And like I said, there are people that will watch this video playback and say, all this talk where they talk there, yes, you're still single. It's okay. It's just not my season. And I'm okay with it. But you have no rights to judge me. You have no rights. And you have no rights to tell me that because of this, that's why I'm single. It's a lie. People where they don't talk past me, they don't marry. People where talk less than me, they don't marry. People where talk less than me, they still never marry. So there's no guarantee to anything. Nobody is God. So that's it, man. That's it, man. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. Oh, guys, this has been so productive. I'm so thankful for everyone that has come on this live. I didn't expect it to go this well. The list we've had has been like 90 something people. I'm so thankful for everyone who has helped me with this super chat and has sent me money. I'm so grateful. You guys didn't have to and you did. This was really beautiful. Like I said before, I said I'm going to be doing more of this lives just because I haven't done this in a while, and I do more of it on Instagram, and I realized that the amount of people that I meet on here is totally different. So I have my Instagram family, but I think I need to stop neglecting YouTube. So thank you guys so much for this. I hopefully should have a video up by Friday. Like I said, you people will not understand the kind of work that I have. That's why I need to get off this live now. I'm deeply rooted in pre-production for a film that I'm producing, but I'm thankful and I'm grateful to be able to find a balance, to be able to take time out to do the things that I love to do, which is create content like this. I love to sit down and have conversations with people. I love to share my opinion, not to chalk it down anybody's throats, but to share my opinion with people. I love to hear different people's perspective, and I love to give mine. I'm not here trying to tell anybody this is right or wrong. I don't know anything. I don't know it all. I'm not saying I do, but you know, I'm grateful that when you guys ask me questions like this, I can tell you where I'm coming from and why I'm thinking like this. I've been very open about my struggles, my vulnerabilities, and yeah, I'm just thankful and grateful that we can create this kind of atmosphere where we can have honest conversations. So thank you guys so much, and for everyone that has put money into my account, your pockets will not run dry. It's very easy for you to say, oh, why is she sitting now here begging people for money? But I'm not begging people. It's 173 minutes of time that I've spent, you know, sharing and communing with you guys. And so it's very much appreciated when people decide to bless and give back. So thank you to everyone that has donated $2, $3, $50, $20. Thank you guys so much. I'm so grateful. And to all of you that even didn't, God will bless all of us and it will enrich our pockets. Thank you guys so much for this. This has been very, 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 very insightful and lovely. And it's okay to be single till the right person comes. I'm 36 going on 37 and I'm not discouraged. My dear, don't be discouraged, Lisa. It's going to happen. We're going to make it happen. Member has 3 careers, only 1 person. My dear, you know easy at all. But mom must chop. While we're waiting for this man, you know what I mean? We're going to make sure that we can eat. So thank you guys so much. Brenda, hi. Thank you so much for this. This was really, really amazing. I will save this live for anybody that's interested in watching back for the Q&A. But like I said before, we started with one conversation. We ended with different conversations. Thank you guys so much. I would definitely put on the community the next time I'm coming live. So it's not going to be just spontaneous. And yeah, man, it's really always nice doing this chit chat with you guys. I appreciate you guys so much. I am so gassed. Like as soon as I get off, I'm going to call my mom. I'm like, Mommy, people were tipping me while I was talking. It ain't never happened before. Thank you guys so much. This was beautiful. Thank you guys. Have a good night. Stay blessed. Please make sure you wear your mask. Vaccinated or not, don't believe these CDC people. All right. Thank you guys so much. Be safe. Kisses always. And yes, we will do this often. Trust me. Kisses. Watch all my videos. Subscribe to my channel. Thank you guys so much. Mwah, 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 mwah.